All right.
Wow. Hello. Let me do my best Evan impression. Hello there, and welcome back to the SWTVC YouTube channel, your video and audio and streaming home of the SWTVC crew and the ongoing push for the continued existence, expansion, and success of the heritage scale of Star Wars collecting. Wow. I'm John at the Vintage Concepts. Oh, thank you. Wow, I'll right at the top of the dome here. Yeah, I'm joined today by Tyler at SW Collector 3.75 on Instagram. You know him, you love him. Evan and Lewis couldn't join today, so we're joined by some very special guests. We got in the top row, John Miko. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Excellent. We got Tim from Boss Bounty. How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. And we got Chris from Bantha Skull. How you doing?
Doing well, and I'm going to violate my New England Patriots card and say, go Bills tomorrow.
Yes, go Bills.
Fired. I'm just kidding.
I saw that great what was his name? From the sequel trilogy there. I don't care. What was the GIF I sent you? The meme.
General Hux.
General Hux. Yes. What the heck was he doing? I forget now. Oh, right here. I don't care if the Bills win. I just need the Chiefs to lose.
So today, gotta say right after, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you everybody for watching. Let's see. Got some people in the audience. We got Tanith. Hello there. Jeff Russell. Hello. TVC Mackin. Hello. Last Clone Customs. Riley Bob. Grants Galaxy. And on number 5, you could be one. A lot of folks. Thanks everybody. Keep the coming.
I just want to say a couple things before we jump into today's meat and potatoes. First off, I'm impressed with how many people have tuned in to join us. Really appreciate everybody who is taking time out of their Saturday to come watch and be part of this discussion, especially on such short notice. We just punched out the news about it this morning. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And the second thing is I just wanted to say a very heartfelt thank you to everybody in this community who's lent their sympathy and support for what's going on with me. Many of you know what's going on. So thank you all very much. I'm overwhelmed with the support and I really appreciate it and love you all. So thank you.
Just thinking big love to you, Tyler. Thanks for being here. Yes, hopefully we can have a little fun today. So first off, if I can get things going, if that's all right. We got 6 days left to get those March Madness top 25 lists. If you have not submitted your list yet, please do. If you have already and you need to edit something, you can. You got an email when you submitted. So if you haven't yet, you can go to that link right there, linktree/SWTVC. It's also in the description right now. And we have 6 days left. We have, I'll say, comfortably over 1,000 lists at the moment. We always want more. We would love more. So everyone who has submitted, thank you for doing that. We had some reveals recently that didn't really necessarily change the submissions. I don't know. Tyler, you had a battle droid on your list, I will say. Spoiler alert, they revealed new legs for a battle droid. I know the new legs have been a big point of conversation this year.
Yes.
Are you modifying your list or not?
It's 1 point. I don't know if I'm going to bother at this point. I mean, is that going to be a deal breaker anywhere? Probably not. So
no, I don't know.
Too much work.
But if you want to edit your list, check the email from when you submitted the list. And so alrighty. Wanted to ask real quick.
Wow, we're up to 80 people in here. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. That's really awesome, especially like I said on such short notice.
So also this past week we've been well, at least I got some. I don't know what else you guys have gotten. Some in the mail. Finally, the first wave. Finally, it's only been a few months. The first wave of 2025 is hitting with Luke, Endara, Anakin, Dedra, and the clone from Teth. Have you guys gotten that yet? I know Tim, you've been doing some reviews in your channel so far.
I've got the clone, and Luke will be here Monday, I hope. I was expecting Anakin today, but we had storms and stuff over here last few days, so that's kind of affected our deliveries.
Tim, you don't have Balin Skull yet? Dude, you're slacking, bro.
I know England was getting stuff really early for a while, but I think that party's over for you guys. I'm sorry to say.
Singapore is going to get it first, right? So,
Yeah.
They're
And Chris,
right
you had a
next to
great
the
review
factory.
of Luke, at least on the site. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I have. I only have the Luke so far.
Nice.
Amazon, obviously shipped the Luke earlier than the other outlets, and then I have the case coming from EE, but it's not going to be here till Wednesday because being on the East Coast, it comes by Pony Express from California.
It's on World
So
Tour.
you only have one Luke so far?
Well,
That's got to be killing you. That's got to be killing you. Okay, two. All right.
Nice.
I
Was the
ordered.
card?
Yeah, so Amazon always figures the openers, and so this was meant to be an opener, but it's kind of too nice to open, so I'll keep it on card until the rest of mine get here. I have the one that I can, play with for now. I have this guy that I can play with for now, so
Nice.
I'll keep
Excellent.
it on card. I did order 2 solid cases of the figure from EE too. So I have
Pallets.
it come.
Beat me on that one.
Nice. Yeah. How many do you have so far, Miko?
One pallet. Sorry, one pallet. One box. One box. And I think I have 4 from Hasbro, and this one came from GameStop.
Okay.
See,
And like we were saying,
this makes me feel less
Yeah.
bad when I order like 2 cases of Thrawns and people are like, what the hell do you need that many Thrawns for? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to make other Grand Admirals and there's different scenes. And, these guys, they're like, well, Luke wears his poncho and Luke's, he's got his gaffy stick in this scene and, this and that. So you need more than one. All
Yeah.
right. You just do. You either
Yeah.
get it
I
or
wanna-
you don't.
did you guys have any issues with the bubble ghost stuff? I literally just opened my
Bubble rub?
case a minute before
Yeah.
before the stream,
Curious.
so I haven't really.
Oh,
There was a little bit
man.
on Indara, but most of them looked fine for me.
No, I don't see anything on my card here.
The
So
one
apparently
from-
they know what the problem is of that now, and they're trying to sort it.
Yeah. My last wave looked great. Like I had no problems. This one is mostly there. At least one of the figures that has the issue is a duplicate. And Miko, you and I were talking right before the stream. The original case assortment was different than what ended up shipping. They had what the wave has 2 Luke, 2 Indara, 2 Anakin, and then 1 clone and 1 Dedra. It was listed with 2 Dedra and 1 Anakin, so I had to do some Hasbro Pulse reshuffling for the order.
Why would you not have the two? Why would you not have 2 clones in there?
I don't know.
It's just,
Especially since it's not the clone lieutenant; it's a army builder. It's the 501st.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny though. I've been wondering whether because they messed up the labeling for that title in the Black Series as well. So I'm thinking it might have been Lucasfilm that misspoke telling Hasbro what it is. I don't know, or maybe it was Hasbro that messed it up in both scales. But either way, it's not a lieutenant; it's a Phase 1 501st Trooper. So
Yes, you need as many as possible.
yes,
Yeah,
so
really
I
means
ordered a
there's no
case of them. I didn't go as crazy as I did with the Phase 2s, as we're gonna discuss here later, but I went real crazy with those.
I got a case of the Teth guys on the order from Entertainment Earth, but no shipping from that yet, so I just got the case so far. Let me highlight a concept from Dan Von Carr. Yes, I was in before the Last Jedi midnight merch release. 7 years ago, I was in a Jenny Nicholson video, so go find that on the internet somewhere. You can see me in my natural my natural habitat of Target at midnight for a release.
Did you have your John Densmore back
It
then?
was before the mustache, so maybe that's why people didn't recognize me.
No, that's
Before
impossible.
I came into my final form. Yeah.
No, I don't believe you were born with that mustache.
Yeah.
You came out into the world rocking that 70s stash from
This is
I-
me before pre-mustache. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did not have a mustache in 2017?
I don't think so. I might. It was experimenting here and there with stuff, but
See, this is why human memory is so flawed. It's
Yeah.
not like a verbatim. I would swear you had a mustache at HasCon.
Just like how now in the memories and in the flashbacks to the prequel era in the Ahsoka show and the Obi-Wan show, that's why Anakin looks like he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
Where's
the memory
my
of nowadays.
where's my lighter so I can imitate Ron Burgundy and be like, I don't believe you.
So, are we ready to move on to some of the reveals from this week?
Let's get into it.
Let me go to first up, Balin Skull. Of course, he was the #1 submitted figure in the first year of Last Figure Standing. He was the #1 submitted figure in 2024 March Madness, and he's finally here. We've known about him he's pipelined quite a while ago, but he's finally here. So he's got that blue card back design, the bubble pill. He's got the I don't know. What do you guys think about this guy? I'll cycle through some images, but he doesn't have a cloak. We'll get to that in a minute. But other than that, he's got some of the green paint deco on his chest, which I think looks awesome. It's very similar to the Black Series one.
It looks
I think the light-
great, man.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
He does look like a phenomenal figure, no doubt. And there is the image of the two of him and Shin standing together, which does show that they've addressed the height discrepancy that they had in the Black Series.
Can you pause on this image before moving on? Oh, sorry, Ty. I just want
This
John to
one?
stop here.
Yeah.
No, go to the next one. That one.
That
Thank
one,
you.
yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you, Tyler. I just want John to stop here.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say shout out to Matt Cohen for this pose. That is such a phenomenal pose. And I told him, I go, if I do the review on Band Skull, I'm stealing this pose. Definitely gonna mimic it for our gallery.
Yeah.
It's such a great pose.
You could tell how much power he's got in that strike.
Yeah.
With that pose, he
And-
had
and-
kind of a Vader vibe with how heavy-handed his strikes were in his fight scenes.
Oh yeah, I mean, even his first grip, like the image of the grip, he's got the separated hand, like that very broadsword type
Yep.
of grip
Yep.
on his hilt.
Yeah, because
Well, it looks like
lightsabers are supposed to be heavy, aren't they? And it kind of makes it look heavy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. And he especially had like kind of a little bit longer blade and kind of like a broadsword sort of thing.
yeah.
Can you
And
zoom
just
in a
like
little
a lot of figures can't do that, can't cross their body and meet the hands together like that. Just because the shoulders don't necessarily give you enough travel, or the elbows don't bend it, but it just looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
you
like
can
the
see
shoulder.
that-
The shoulders molded to the.
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead,
can you
John.
see the what? Looks like the
I was-
shoulder armor is separately pieced, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that weathering or greenish deco is even on his arm bashers there, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see some layering of deco.
And then as Jason says, doesn't come with a roof or a floor though. Disappointing.
Classic.
And thank God we don't have the Lego hairpiece. It's got the the salt and pepper paint apps to the hair.
Yeah.
That makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
zoom in on that again. Yeah,
Yeah. The
His
paint
beard-
apps on the
his-
hair does look good.
His beard's pretty white, but it even has some looks like some photoreal printing on the mustache and stuff. So the likenesses are just incredible.
It seems like they do the 2-piece stuff for figures that they're going to leverage the head for it and do different hair for or something. It appears so.
Does he have the same? Looks like, is it one hair piece because it's a smaller? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's a separately sculpted.
Right,
It looks
yeah.
like it's
It
just
looks-
all one
it
head.
looks-
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I know Chris
don't
and I
Yeah.
spoken to
So
that, and the pros and cons on that, right? Is if separate hairpiece allows them to not screw up any paint apps or paint deco or from getting the full hairpiece colored correctly and none of it running onto the figure or vice versa. But at the same time, it sometimes looks a little clunky.
Yeah.
Man, we
Yeah,
got 108 people in here. I can't
Nice.
believe it. That's awesome, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Yeah.
To Johnny Miko's point, if anybody remembers TVC 1.0, trying to find the Han Bespins that didn't have the hairline that started about where my hairline starts.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
So
Yeah.
initially, I was really concerned whether Balin and Shin were going to be able to ride the Howler, but it looks like Balin does have a split down the center of his lower,
Yeah.
I will say to
how
that
that is on the
point, we'll get
back.
into the soft goods of it all. I mean, the texture on these clothes is just, it's really well done. So like,
Yes.
it's kind of like with Leia, like, yeah, obviously there would have been more posing if it was soft goods, but there's the texture that they sculpted into the lower robes is really nice on both Balin and Shin. And then they could obviously do, they can do a repack down the line with soft goods or whatever they want to do. But for now,
Yeah, that shot, just go back one shot.
Yeah.
So that shows you how he could potentially go on to a creature, doesn't it?
Yep. Assuming that the back piece doesn't get in the way. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
that's
about how
it.
the back looks.
Yeah, the last thing you want is it sort of laying flat across the back of the front of the between his legs, sort of thing. It won't look great. I mean, obviously soft goods would. It's the layer syndrome, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how instead of doing carbonized repacks or wacky repaints, they're just gonna do figures with hard plastic everything and then do a soft goods variant 2 years down the line. So that's how it's double dip.
The soft vinyl. Can I ask Tyler?
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about the new Anakin there? The
Revenge of the Sith one?
The Clone Wars one that has
that
has the soft goods lower.
Well, the Revenge of the Sith one does. I think, do I have like a Thrawn hand?
Thinking of the one coming out for Ahsoka that's got the
the one that just hit.
Yeah, that's hitting in this way, or in the wave we were just talking about with Luke. Do you like those soft goods? They seem kind of
let me take this Anakin for example. This Anakin here, obviously this is not a new figure, but
and yeah.
Can you guys see this?
That's where I'm going with it. That's where I'm going with it.
This is bendy enough to where, if you want to put him in an action pose, obviously I'm not doing it very well right now, but the plastic is bendy enough to not restrict the the lower articulation, and it looks like it would be the same on the new Revenge of the Sith Anakin and Clone Wars Anakin. So,
but the Clone Wars one is all soft goods, I think.
Right. Well, so is the Revenge of the Sith one. The Revenge of the Sith one, the lower tabards are soft goods.
Oh, okay. What do you prefer, that you're holding, or the all soft goods? Because to me, it looks a little.
I like uniformity. If you're gonna do soft goods, then do the whole thing soft goods. If you're gonna do plastic, then do the whole thing plastic. Except when it comes to like Leia, because that's like a full dress, and that's when it's like really inhibiting.
Yeah.
The articulation at that point. That's a different situation.
A good example of that is the new Luke, isn't it, versus the Death Star escape Luke?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. He's got his, and then from the waist underneath the Stormtrooper belt, it's soft goods, isn't it? And it just looks a bit jarring, doesn't it?
Yes.
I thought you would like the way that episode 2 Anakin is, with the soft vinyl or PVC tabards and then the soft goods underneath it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But like I said, the new Revenge of the Sith Luke has the lower tabards from the belt down are soft goods.
Right. I don't know if I like that as much.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm going with it.
I don't personally.
Curious what Chris's feelings.
Well, you're setting me up, John, because you know my my answer on this. I'm always, I should say always. I'm always err on the side of function over form. So I'd rather have the articulation unlocked as best as possible, even if it is a little jarring in the aesthetic. But that's just me. So I prefer.
But I don't think the soft PVC would really restrict it at all. With the
potentially, yeah. If it doesn't, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying whatever gives us the best posability is what I'm going to look for. So So I don't get thrown off. Like personally, it doesn't ruin my enjoyment of a figure to have that split. If I end up with a very posable figure.
Like
oh yeah,
the
Jeruis is another
yeah.
another good example. Yeah. It's kind of a mix, right?
Who's got that beeping going on?
I'm sorry, it's my dog's going outside. My door's beep.
Okay, cool.
Crime-ridden suburban New Hampshire. Got to have the security system on the doors.
I didn't know if somebody had a burrito going. I don't know if I had a burrito going.
Hot Pockets.
Real quick, John, can you go back to the picture of Balin with his hilts and his lit lights? Yeah. I just want to say I'm really, really, really happy to see that they included the unlit hilt here. Thank the maker. They included the unlit hilt. And I think they did with Shin as well, right? I think. Are we ready to move on to Shin? We good to
yeah, hold on, let me see. And they've done for like the Acolyte figures, I believe, have the hilts and stuff. I know Ahsoka is one that everybody wants the hilts to be added, but it's nice they've been doing it. So yeah, in terms of the soft goods versus I don't know. It's always as they say, the balance of form and function and stuff. But for now, for these releases, I'm glad that we have the details on here with both, because they both have interesting kind of skirts and stuff. So here's Shin Hati. Obviously, as they know, you can't reveal Balin without Shin.
Could you actually wind back to the Balin card really quick? There's one thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I know what he's gonna say.
Yeah. And then this is a first time pill color, right? We've never had this.
Yeah.
Light.
It's pretty light, yeah.
Yeah.
Pastel blue, yeah.
I'm gonna say I think that Johnny Mustache's card back was a little better.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you.
It was on what is it? Cetos was the planet.
Yeah, when he has the map behind him when he's fighting Ahsoka for the first time.
Is he holding his lightsaber like this, and you've got a red pill?
Bring it up, John.
And a red orange. Let me see if I can get it.
Okay. I can't remember.
Just go to your Instagram.
I quite like this card back.
I'm not saying the card is bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
He prefers.
I just think that Mustache's was better.
Yeah. I agree. They could have. Yeah, there are better shots, but I'm still quite happy with the one that they've chosen.
Let's see here.
If John can pull it up just super quick.
Let me see if I can stop sharing.
Does Shin Hati come with a cigarette accessory?
Well, she is Eastern European, right? That's all they do. Is they smoke like chimneys, right? So
you can put her in the
Southern European too.
Here's what I had for Balin.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My version.
That's the one. Yeah,
thank you. Not to toot my own
so
horn,
good.
I just like the orange with it contrasts with the blue, because I think the one that they did, the blue on blue sort of thing, is the very light sky with the very light pill color. I'm not 100% sure about it. Maybe it'll look better in the in person. But
did you consider any shots from that first opening scene when he's in the hallway and he's got his hood up? Did you play around with any of those?
I did a little bit. I just love this image, and I feel like they've used at least a version of this in some of the other marketing and stuff. I mean, it just looks so cool. He looks like a knight holding the knight in training armor.
And again, you can see right there that broadsword.
You can see how long the hilt is.
Pose
it's
and
just a huge hilt.
They made lightsaber in the Black Series, right?
Yes, it's coming out this year, I believe.
Man, I might have to get that.
Put it up. Yeah.
Balin gets all the girls with that lightsaber.
Let me get back to this.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Yoda's lightsaber, Tim. It's just as effective as Balin's lightsaber.
That would be form over function.
Yeah.
Sadly, my image would use too much printer ink, so couldn't do it. All right, let's get back. Let's get back to Shin, though.
Yeah, let's get back to Shin,
and we'll get the final image is the one. So at least there's a little more contrast here between the sky and the name pill, and they're both kind of in the same light blue world. I like this image of her better than the Balin card. I think. She looks like she's up to no good. I don't know. Yeah, no cigarette. But she does have her lightsaber. People have been,
really good. Especially her armor looks really shiny. It looks fantastic. Her armored pieces, still bright, shiny silver. But the hair, she's kind of got some uncooked ramen hair going on. What do you think? I feel like there should be a little bit more
I think the head sculpt in general is a bit of a miss, to be honest. I mean, she looks like she's had a lot of filler going on there, doesn't she? But
I almost wonder if the printing was off a little bit on this sample. I don't know, but again, you think they would have cleaned it up before taking these pictures. But
you can tell that they've tried to do her cheekbones and stuff like that, because she does have really high cheekbones. But I don't know. I just find in general they find female characters pretty tough to do.
Yeah,
a little wash in that hair could have probably helped.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think she looks better than the Black Series one. The Black Series one, her face is really set back from the hair for some reason. I think it looks better here.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Not 100% there for sure.
Oh, can you zoom back in on her bashers and everything? Sorry.
Her what now? Oh, the
gauntlets.
The gauntlets.
What are they called? Gauntlets. Sorry.
Bashers.
Bashers.
I'm liking the little red and yellow deco and stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
That stuff. I want to see that. I want to see it.
I'd say the paint apps on these, for the most part, are really good. I think it's just the hair that's throwing me off. But
and I still like, in terms of the lower skirt of it all, it's got some of the damage in here. It's got like a patch right here, which I don't think they could have done as easily in soft goods. But again,
I agree.
You can double dip.
They also haven't really done like layered soft goods like that. Like when you think about the existing TVC Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace and how his lower skirt is like layered with like multiple layers, I don't think they've really done something like that in TVC 2.0 that I can think of.
Maybe some of the Bib Fortuna stuff with the layered.
Yeah, that's probably the best example. Yeah.
Chirrut, does he have any layers?
Yeah. I think, so likeness, not 100% there maybe, but I think
pretty darn good. Pretty
good. And overall, the figure, I mean, all the sculpting and the armor and the texture looks pretty great.
My nitpick, and I've said this on a few different platforms, I'm genuinely upset that these figures don't have their cloaks. I'm upset about it. And it's because these figures, they're like 90-something% of the way there towards being just perfect. And these figures were so long awaited and highly desired by the community, and they're almost there, but they're missing that critical component.
But you weren't surprised though, Tyler, were you? You weren't surprised.
I wasn't surprised, but I'm still disappointed.
Yeah.
I think
I'm very disappointed about it.
And I mean, Chris, you wrote an article on Bantha Skull this week about it, right? If you want to chime in.
Yeah, Chris, I definitely want to hear your thoughts.
Well,
on that,
it just seems that they went out of the way to call out the paint apps specifically on Balin, and it just seems like we're at the stage now where to stick to the $17 price point, you get one or the other. It feels like so they put the money on these two figures into the paint apps. It jumps off the screen that it's there, so they couldn't afford the cloaks, and then you have like Indara has the cloak, but you can look at that figure, it's mostly cast in color. It's very simplistic.
Yeah, she has less than Balin, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And it's the same with Yord and Sol and these other Acolyte Jedi that people keep pointing to that have cloaks. Like they're much simpler, I think.
Yeah. Although they don't really have paint up.
To that point, I was looking at the Sol, and he does have some paint. I mean, there are some definitely more paint breaks on Sol than the other figures. So it's I was happy to reconcile that okay, we get one or the other. And John, you mentioned my article. It was that maybe we need to have accessory packs come back. If they can't give us everything in the base figure, give us the paint apps, because you can't add factory paint apps later. You can add a factory cloak after the fact. So to distribute the cost. But then look at Saul. I'm like, well, why does he get the cloak and have these paint apps? And it kind of reminds me of, we can't do Boba Fett if it's not deluxe anymore. It's just too complicated of a figure, too much paint, too much parts, all this stuff. And then they release all these Mandalorians in the basic line, which seem just as complicated as Boba Fett. So like I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. You can't do Boba Fett for $17 anymore. Boba Fett figures anymore. Then they do a bunch of Boba Fett like figures for $17. I'm thinking they can't do paint apps and soft goods. It's one or the other. But then Saul has paint apps and soft goods. So at some point with the stuff, I just want them to make it make sense. Just explain it to me like I'm 5 years old.
Yeah,
Why isn't it consistent? Can there be some
Well,
consistency?
then you've got the other way. You've got the other going the other way with the Django Fett figure. There's no paint breaks on that. It's just silver. Like
Yeah.
he's cast in purple plastic, and then he's got silver the whole figure. There's apart from the helmet, there's maybe a few little bits on his gauntlet.
A little bit of black,
I can see.
yeah,
but nothing compared to Boba Fett, And he was a deluxe. You can now pick him up for like $8.99 over here, like crazy,
Django,
he was fake deluxe.
Django for $8.99.
No, Boba.
Yeah.
Oh, Django? They said Boba.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Django for $8.99.
Wow.
John, I think this would be an opportune moment to bring up Steve's comment.
Yes,
I'll say too, in that wave assortment, Kenobi and Yord have soft goods. Just looking at
it. So is that a way that they costed out separately?
Like maybe they looked at it that way, that there's already 2 figures in this assortment with soft goods.
But I just don't think wave cost averaging exists anymore because of the solid cases.
Right.
It's not like when the Gamorrean Guard was a loss, but they made up for it with Bar 2 D2 back in TVC 1.0 because you could only get the Gamorrean by buying a R2D2, so you could average it out. Now, when you can order solid cases, I don't know that they can do wave cost averaging anymore because you could just only order Gamorrean Guards in that scenario. You'd blow,
But Steve, so this like Steve's comment, which we're about to bring up.
I thought I had it up. I don't know why.
I sent it to you on your phone. Okay. Steve's comment suggests that that's still a thing, but again, then we look at Indara and Yord, and it's like, well, they have soft goods. If it's a situation where it's too expensive to all put them in the same wave, okay, then put them in 2 different waves. Then, like I don't understand why we can't make this work. I don't get it.
Well, so if I can read Steve Evans' comment when somebody mentioned this on his post, he said, "I completely understand. I won't do the accent. I completely understand and respect the desire for these details, and I truly wish it were possible to deliver everything within the price point. However, it's often more complex than it seems. Cloaks, while impactful, are proportionately expensive accessories, which makes it challenging to include many of them in a single wave while staying within the SRP. That said, I've made it one of my personal objectives to work through these challenges and find solutions where possible. While both Balin and Shin wear cloaks in the show, I hope their appearances without them, particularly during action scenes, still make them compelling figures to add to your collection. I hope this helps provide some context on how these decisions are made for toy lines."
And see, that's their out. Is there were a few scenes in the show where they didn't have them, so it's okay. No, it's not okay.
Yeah, it's not as if I can't take it off. I can take the cloak off and make it look like that.
Right. Their opening scene in the show, they had their cloaks. Okay, when they're on the New Republic, cruiser or whatever it was, right? Like that was a really, really cool scene. And they stepped off the shuttle and they're both pretending to be Jedis, and they had their cloaks. It's kind of a big deal. They had their, when Shin fought Sabine for the first time, she had her cloak on, right? Like multiple action scenes where they had their cloaks on. So it bothers me, man.
To back up what Steve's saying there about like the cost of them, like I was speaking to one of the Hasbro guys at MCM, and they said exactly the same thing, that soft goods are like getting more expensive than they were, and you would think that on a Black Series figure there'd be more because there's more material, but it's not, because it's more an intricate. It's more intricate sewing and stuff and things like that when you're dealing with smaller pieces of cloth, and they sometimes have to be different types of cloth as well, depending, durability and all that kind of thing. But I do want to say as well, this isn't a TVC thing as well. Black Series have had it as well. Both of those figures didn't come with their cloaks, did they?
Right.
They've had like Obi-Wans and like season 1 Phantom Menace Obi-Wans and stuff before without cloaks and stuff like that, because I remember things like that happening. So it's not.
Then they repack them with cloaks years later.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So what? I mean, I don't follow the Black Series too closely, but I understand that they have re-released Balin and Shin with the cloaks, right?
As exclusives.
Yeah. So both
exclusives. Are they the same price?
Yeah, they're the same price as how it's printed out, but. Shin was a Target exclusive with the cloak, and Balin was a Walmart exclusive with his cloak. But so they already had, invested the tooling dollars into the main line of Black Series.
Yeah.
And then they repacked them. No additional deco, no additional anything other than the cloaks.
But see,
which feels
this
frustrating. So
this is the dirty
fact
game
that
that I don't like. Is they release something missing critical components that they know are critical components, and so they release it a second time and give you those things that you wanted with the initial release, and they're like, "Well, here you go." Now it's like, "Well, now you've got to buy it again." It's like, I don't like this, man. You're like taking advantage of us here. You know,
Well,
I just
I
don't like it.
I won't go that far to cast them as some snidely whiplash mustache twirling villain. Yeah, you're gonna buy it twice. Yeah, not you guys. It's just it speaks to the fight of, again, what the brand team. Let's talk to the brand team, not Hasbro corporate above them. The brand team. They're working with they're working within pennies. They're counting pennies to do stuff to us, and it's whatever they could do to get there. So now if they can lower the cost of the tooling, the fixed cost of the tooling by making 2 runs of it, now they can afford to incorporate the soft goods, just as as an example on that. But like I said, I just want to see consistency. If soft goods are too expensive, I don't want to see these figures come with it and these figures not, without a good explanation. Just be honest with us, because I think as a community, when we see these things that don't add up, it frustrates people. Like you say, like, again, you say, Boba Fett can't be done for $17.99. Then you do a bunch of Boba Fett like figures, and you see these inconsistencies. Just explain.
Yeah, even the judge has soft goods, right?
What's that?
The judge had a soft good cape, didn't he? The Mandalorian judge.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So like
yeah.
Well,
why is that figure that John was just showing? Why can that be done for $17, but Boba Fett can't?
To repaint it.
More paint.
Yeah, but
this guy doesn't have a name.
Yeah, I've said very very on some of these live streams, I said I believe that the Boba Fett tax is a conspiracy theory. There's no such thing, because I believe them. Now I feel like a schmuck. 2 years later after saying that, I feel like a real schmuck that they basically lied to me, and I believe the lie.
Well, Django Deluxe didn't come with his poncho or
No.
the two jetpacks.
Yeah.
Which
I was talking about it on the video that I made today for tomorrow about Django Fett specifically, and how I just mentioned it earlier as well. That figure is not a deluxe figure. It's just not. There's nothing that comes with that figure that makes it deluxe. Even the accessories that it does come with don't make it deluxe. And you're absolutely right, John. To make it deluxe, it should have come with the poncho and the other jetpack. And even then, is it really deluxe? I don't know. Like, the one from 2011 or whatever has got more accessories in a super slim bubble. In a super slim bubble, on a beautiful card back. And then
poncho, the headset, the removable rocket, all this different stuff.
I'm not complaining about the figure itself, because it is a really good Django Fett. I'm not, but it's just the execution of how they've done that. And I don't want to accuse of cash grabs, but that's what it felt like, that one, because for me it just didn't. It's just like, as the tax or whatever. It's just living off the name of Django Fett. Everyone's going to want it, unfortunately.
And that's the thing, Aqualish Dogs brings it up, is it's like, that was not a newly tooled figure. The vast majority of that figure was already existing tooling. Like,
I've got it here.
So where does the deluxe come from?
Well, it's just one paint color. He reuses parts. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
It's right there. You guys are missing it. The deluxe. It's those holsters. If you want giant holsters like that, you gotta go to deluxe.
Gotta pay up. Pay up for those
saddlebags,
right?
Saddlebags.
All right. So I do want to ask, though, what do you guys think the likelihood is that we'll get Balin and Shin again in some form with their cloaks the way they should be?
We'll have the soft goods lower too.
I'm wondering,
if they did a howler set with them or something.
What if they did a 3-pack of the 2 of them with their cloaks and then a brand new Marok figure? That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right? Because that's how they kind of do it when you look at the Heir to the Empire pack, right? There was 2 retools and then a newly sculpted figure, right? That's how they cost it out. I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, you know. I'd be a little butthurt about it. I'm sure I'd complain, but I want the cloaks for these figures really bad. I really, really do.
Well, we didn't get them. That's life.
And I saw
we
a
got
lot
the
of
figures.
those comments. So,
and just going back to these two figures, you know, because obviously we're nitpicking on the things that they don't include, but that shot there, this is another example of IG-11 where it's sometimes better to wait, and we've actually got them at the correct scales, whereas the Black Series have got is it a too tall Shin or a too small Balin?
Balin small.
Yeah,
Balin small. There you go. Right.
Yeah, I'm still not 100% sure if the height difference is as pronounced as it should be, but they're not the exact same height like they were in Black Series. So this is a win for Vintage.
And did they fix it for the Black Series with the cloak? Did they fix his height?
No, they didn't change any tooling or anything.
There you go.
So they had two chances to get it right. And they didn't do it.
So somebody posted in the basketball comments. There's a publicity shot or a behind the scenes shot where they're standing exactly like this, and it looks pretty close. The disparity, the height disparity.
Nice. Okay, cool. So
so obviously we can see that they're not the same size, but I'm wondering how tall Balin is compared to, say, Vader, right? Because he's supposed to be a pretty tall guy. He's got a tower over the Ahsoka Thrawn, most likely.
And then in season 2, if he's played by the Hound from Game of Thrones, that guy was enormous.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. And she's standing in front of him there too, so she's probably a little taller than she appears.
Yeah.
A
little bit.
Could we do another release with soft goods? Yes. Am I very happy these two are coming? Yes, of course.
I am very happy. I am. I feel that they are missing a critical component. That's all.
Yes. But they also got as people have mentioned, they got the correct orangey red lightsabers straight out the gate. So hopefully we don't have to do a variant like Black Series did with them.
Yeah. Chris, are you taking off a full point for these when you do your review? They starting off at 9s because of the no cloaks. No, that's what I would do.
No,
immediate 9. Immediate 9.
Balin's a 10. A 10. I can tell he's a 10.
Yeah, I mean he looks fine.
I think say, do those arms bend? Do those arms bend, Chris, past 90 degrees?
Yeah.
All right.
You're kinder than me, Chris. I would be.
Well, one thing you have to understand is, we've been doing this for so long that if I punish like a TVC 2.0 figure too harshly, then you go back and look at relative reviews. I could be getting like 1 point away from a all swivel 7 or 8 POA figure. So I got to try to keep. I don't have a lot.
Yeah.
I really wish at this point we really do got to do half points, just so we can have to break it out a little bit more. 10 when you're going back to 1995, 10 doesn't allow enough separation from the Apps 7 droid to Kanan. But 10 points isn't enough difference between those two figures.
Yeah.
And I'm a filthy Black Series collector as well. So the fact that they didn't come with, if they had, but it gives me a little perspective on this. If they had come with the cloaks and the original basic releases in Black Series and didn't in Vintage Collection, then I'd feel a little more bummed about it. But the fact that they didn't come with cloaks in Black Series either until they had to do the double dip, and that's just that's where I'm coming with it. So I think these figures look great. They can do cloaks later. Yes, Tyler, I know they should have had them. Let's move on to the Mandalorian, if that's all right.
John, you really need to sort that out, man. You really need to sort. There's something really wrong with your life at this point in time.
I'm over here content. I'm happy. Tyler's the one with the sign.
John, I had to get the 6-inch hammerhead, and Tyler.
Yeah, I know, right?
I shared it with Tyler. He was not happy. Shamed me.
I haven't opened a lot of my Black Series figures in years.
Shape of Italy?
It's a boot, baby.
It's a boot. Pick 'em. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
So, speaking of double dips, here's the. Let's go to the Mandalorian Super Commando, another Ahsoka figure from the World Between Worlds. I got an exclusive early preview of this figure right in hand. I don't know how I got that.
No. That
shoulder pauldrons.
Yeah, it's got the shoulder spikes.
Yeah,
it's not the
it's
same.
totally
it's not the
different.
same.
It's a kit
Not
bash.
totally different.
Bash.
So yeah, the differences are looking at this guy. Yeah, he doesn't have the same. He doesn't have the spiky shoulder pads. Has the same helmet. Has the same jetpack. I want to say. Yeah, instead of the big blaster that he had 3 years ago, he has the two-handed rifle that he uses in the series, and is on the card back. One note of inaccuracy is that he should have a different belt. You can see on the image here. He has, I believe that's Axel Woves' belt with a different holster on the side.
Ooh.
And it has, because the holsters on this guy are the animated style, where they're more like armor pieces or whatever.
They should have lied to us, man, because they said that they had to Photoshop that one together. So I would have Photoshopped that belt out of there. So people like you don't see it.
I'm sorry.
You mean like how they changed the rank on the Cal Kestis figure so that it would match the inaccurate figure like that? Oh man, I can't believe they did that. I'm never gonna forget that.
So I don't know. It's not the most exciting one, but it's fine. There was a couple. I think there was in the show. I looked again in the show. She fights one. I think the guy kind of gets up and he gets knocked down, but he gets up again. She's never going to keep him down.
Oh dear! That is terrible.
You got this is the Chumbawamba Mandalorian commander. It's Chewbacca's cousin, the Chumbawamba. Anyway, it does help. It's an easy win. It's not the worst repack in the world. I noticed in terms of the deco, he doesn't have the silver battle damage, but he still has like some black chipping on his armor, which I think looks fine to me.
I don't know. I mean, it's a cool figure. Let's face it. It's a Mandalorian. It's a Mandalorian with horns. Like, that's cool by default. But I feel like we already have this.
Yeah, I've got 2 cases of the other one, man. It went on sale like over here for I think $6.99, which is like what $9. So I just bought 2 cases of them while they're on sale.
Holy cow.
Along with the Trooper version, and also the Death Watch Airborne Trooper, which is one of my favorite figures. So I didn't mind buying a couple of cases of them, but all of those figures went on sale. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's a cool figure. I'm happy they're in the line. Just maybe not when I've already got 2 cases of something that looks virtually exactly the same.
I feel like if they're gonna repack stuff, and they are, I've noticed that some of the repacks haven't been selling as well. Like X-Wing Luke went on pretty deep clearance on Amazon and stuff like that. So if it's just like, if they're gonna repack stuff, I prefer army builders like this. And it is like, he had a cool moment in the Ahsoka series. Maybe not exciting for us, but not the worst pick in the world.
Go ahead, Chris, sorry.
My fantasy about this figure is that it's Patrick's Eric Cartman moment when he was leaving the line. Like everybody was like last year, I'm so sick of Mandalorians. No more Mandalorian repaints. Screw you guys. I'm giving you one more on his way out the door on the line.
Yeah, everybody complained about blue Mando, so we got a red one now. So
screw you guys.
I didn't think it was fun. I liked in the stream where they're like, "This is the most unique Mandalorian we've ever done." And I'm like, "We literally got this figure 3 years ago, but that's
okay." Yeah, classic.
Yeah, people are saying in the comments too, like, if they want to continue to do Mandalorians, all right, do Gar Saxon, do Rook Cast, like do something that hasn't been done before. Then
those are the problem.
Fen Rao, get him out there.
Fen Rao would be great. All 3 of those guys would be almost totally new tooling.
Yeah,
because their armor is unique.
Oh, okay.
Gar Saxon is very unique, and so is Rook Cast. Yeah, that's true. I don't know about Fen Rao. I'd have to look, but
what about Obi-Wan in?
Yeah,
no, that one we literally have.
I had that
if
on
they want to tool up a new head, maybe.
Yeah,
I had that on my March Madness list the first year, but it was like, oh, this got to be coming right around the corner because they did every other Mandalorian under the sun. They could do a 2-pack of Mandalorian Obi-Wan with Duchess Satine for Lorena finally. The one in Mandalorian. See, now we're asking for more Mandalorians. We just said we were Mandoed out. Now we're asking for
I'm good. I'm good personally. But
you're making the wrong ones, Hasbro. Just
Almec would
So
be
how
a good
about-
one, and Almec wouldn't take much new tooling, if any, because
No,
he's
he-
basically
armor,
the
yeah.
airborne one, just with a new paint job, right?
Yeah, I
The
think
airborne
he
one
might have
from
had some
a few years ago, a couple years
some other
ago.
details, but yeah. At some point, I was going to do another. So they've done a lot from both the Siege of Mandalore in Clone Wars Season 7, as per my shirt, which I think you can see right now, and the Ahsoka World Between Worlds stuff. So I do give them props for, continuing to build out those scenes, including with like the 501st Phase 1 we just got, as well as 501st Clone Trooper, another repack.
Hey,
A very smart repack, one that I
For
won a
sure.
lot of. Tyler, how many did you buy of this guy?
I got 100 of them,
See?
and I got 100 snow troopers too. It's going to be an expensive year,
Yes.
gentlemen.
Yes.
Really expensive year.
So I also got an exclusive look at this guy early. Thank you, Hasbro, for sending this guy. But
But to be fair,
yeah.
that everyone kicked off about that. Like, why are you only putting one 501st in a box of 4 Phase 2
Yes.
clone troopers?
Yes.
Either just give us 4 of the same one, or more 501st than anything. Maybe one white.
That
fully
trooper
standard
pack
set.
was one of my least favorite trooper packs, not because of the figures themselves, but because of the assortment, the way that the assortment of figures in there just.
So they're
pissed me
correcting
off.
it. They're giving us the best one out of those
Yes,
3
for
different
sure.
troopers.
I was like, did you?
I honestly wouldn't
you-
say no
if
to
you-
a 332nd repack either, but
If you worried for a second about them not repacking a clone trooper, I think we didn't have to worry about that. They were always going to do that, but I don't know. And I'm on the other side of the thing. I love that 4-pack. It's one of my favorites that they've ever done because they took the great clone sculpt and added in even better helmets, and then we have the opportunity now to buy more 501st. So we're all good. We're all good. It's all fine.
They
So
did
here-
that, and then they deleted paint apps, and thank God they're back on this. The teeth in the grill in the frown.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Can
Okay.
you zoom in? Does it have the little
Yeah,
the
let
little
me
silver
see if
pieces?
there's another.
Yeah, it does.
It's a
Oh,
dark
yeah,
gray.
I want to
Is
see
that
that.
okay? Good
Or
shout.
dark gray, whatever it is.
Nice. Yeah,
There
they do
you go.
have them.
Okay, but they're
didn't
supposed to
notice
have
that.
little silver on the chin too, aren't they? I think.
They got
Yeah.
the
I don't know.
filters. They got silver around it. Looks like, I think. I can't tell.
I'm not
It still
sure.
looks pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Looks pretty
I
darn
mean,
good.
and this, like I said, this sculpt is probably, I don't know, I can go so far as to say it's my favorite army builder figure they've ever done. So I feel like I have some quibbles with some of the others, but I love this clone sculpt.
Yeah, me
And,
too, man.
It's especially with that new helmet,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and with the new
and
helmet, and the
the
fact
new
that they,
Phase 1 helmet looks
Yes.
great too. Yeah.
yeah, and, I know. And with Steve Evans' post with the different colors, Tyler was very excited about that being a Phase 1 clone pack. And I was like, I don't know.
I
man,
thought for
don't think so.
sure. I thought for sure, but he got me. Got him. Bamboozled.
Got him.
His lower
But-
legs are wrong. They're on the wrong legs.
The lower legs are wrong.
Yeah.
So actually, it's funny you bring that up. So
It
somebody
looks-
noticed that Indara has labels
Maybe not.
on her legs, like R1 and
Yeah.
R2 on her lower legs, and I think that's because they have been messing it up at the factory and putting them, and it's been creating this like bowed leg look where they're like bending out to the sides, and of course rubbery plastic in the bubbles isn't helping either, but it looks like they're labeling the legs now so that they can be properly assembled at the factory.
I don't know if they did, but yeah. So we'll have to see
Look
how
at
many of your
Indara
100
when you get her in
are-
hand. She's got a little R2 on her, a little, just like the
Little
Ghost
R2.
had the R1 and R2 pieces for the wing
Yeah.
pieces, so
Yeah.
you can pop them in the right spot. It's got a little R label on it. It's weird. It's very weird.
So we need something to complain about on this guy. So the numbering fits that bill. Thank you.
I want to
We need
complain
someone
about
to complain
that, and I
Yeah.
also want to complain about one other thing. As much as I love this figure, and I do, but what is going on with this numbering, dude? What is going? They've lost the plot completely. Like
Yeah.
completely lost their freaking minds with the numbering.
Here's what we need to do: is we need
What
to
are
stop
they
caring
doing?
about the numbering because they clearly don't. And
I mean, I just
remove
don't
a stressor
understand
from your life.
how we're 370 something figures into the vintage collection and they're still confused on how to do this. It's like mind numbing. Like
See, that's something that gives us something to talk about. They know we need to fill streams and podcasts and stuff. So
What happened with
it's
this
okay.
one? With the number?
This one, it's It's VC 240, and in the stream they said RF for refresh, but I don't know if it's actually going to say that on the card. Somebody actually posted the card, and I forgot to double check.
The way it used to be is if it was a different figure, a different sculpt, right, than a previous release, like for example, 2 different Vaders, right? 2 totally different Vaders with 2 totally different sculpts, they would have 2 different numbers, right?
Yeah.
Now what they're doing is they're going to give them the same number if it's the same character, but do something funky with it, like add an A or RF to it to make it. It's like, what are you doing? Why? What are we doing here?
The line on this is so clear to me. Is if it's an aesthetic change, give it an alpha after the same number. If the utility of the figure is different in any way, it's a new number. This is so much. This figure is so much better. It's so much more usable.
It's also a totally different media source too. Like the card back, it's not Revenge of the Sith or Clone Wars. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that should grant a new card number as well.
Because like what they did.
Personally, I think you could refresh the cards and keep the same number. That's a little back.
Whatever.
When the figure is different, when it's a different figure, it needs to be a new number. And if the RF designation is there, it's helpful. Because one big thing is how many people have to rely on the secondary market. And if they're both VC 240, if you're a new collector coming in, it's a very high hurdle if you got to learn these little nuances. Oh, you don't want that 240, you want this 240. Which, by the way, there's no way you're going to know the difference between the two. When you try
that's not a good move. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
the 240 is the skinny clone. Like what the hell?
Yeah. So, and I will say real quick, I just checked TVC Mandalorian on Instagram, posted the card backs, and it's just 240. It doesn't actually say RF on the actual card.
Oh, really?
Have we got a pic of the back of the card back, have we?
TVC.Dadalorian posted it. I'm not sure exactly where he got it from, but you can find it on his
Interesting. Instagram. So it's got the same number as a totally different sculpt.
And this,
I don't agree with that at all. That's not a good move.
Well, and because this figure was the this is the third 501st card in the line. We had the Revenge of the Sith one in 1.0. That figure was repacked with a new head, got a new number, and the Clone Wars card. And then then that number is being carried forward to this figure. And in the most recent wave of it had Mandalorian Minds of Mandalore, which had new tooling or different tooling, and it only had an A based on the previous Mando. It had a Bo-Katan with a new shoulder piece that got a new number. And then it had a K2SO, which was an exact repack refresh on a new card, which got a new number. And then we got this, which is a different figure, which is the same number as an older figure. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's one of these things that I can't care about.
I don't think people would really give a hell about it if it was just a consistent, like.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're going to put A's on them or RFs or whatever you want to do, just make it consistent, and then people won't say anything.
But that's the thing is their complete inability to be consistent. It's just become a circus with the numbering. I mean, And the reason why that's a problem is because it disincentivizes people from wanting to continue to be completists when they're like, this has just become a circus and it's stupid and I'm not going to do it anymore. Like Chris, Chris, you're not a completist anymore, right? Because of Finn,
yeah.
But these things, they matter and they start impacting people's purchasing habits. And that's a problem. The numbering should not be taken lightly. It shouldn't just be this thing where it's like, oh, well, Hasbro shouldn't care, so why should we care? Well, there are people who care, but if they keep having this inconsistency, then people stop caring and then they buy less. And this starts having an impact on the hobby. I mean, you're talking about a quantifiable impact on the hobby when people just throw up their hands and say, well, I'm not going to be a completist anymore. That starts impacting sales when you multiply that by hundreds of people or whatever, right? Like that's not an insignificant thing.
That's why luckily you covered 100 other people by buying 100 other
True. But
Hasbro does a good job, and I've actually encouraged them in the past. Jump up and down on that OCD nerve of collectors. Like make that. That's how you can get sales. Make we're all OCD. That's why we do this. If we could probably do a class action therapy session if we wanted to, because we all have the same quirks in our personalities. And they for years were doing a really good job of really tweaking that OCD nerve. And the best example would be the 2 mini cards. I don't think that was a bad thing. I think that was a really good thing for the health of the line. As much as it really ticked people off, I think it was a good thing because they didn't want to miss the next one. Nobody wanted to miss the next one because of those two mini cards. Now they're just cheapening it, like you said, Tyler. With all this stuff. Who cares if I miss? Was it VC 277? There's probably gonna be another figure with the same number. I don't care if I miss it anymore. And they don't have the mystique of that unbroken. Kind of the baseball card collector, the comic book collector, that unbroken run of figures. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to remind Tim that this is VC 240. Oh, is that a miss card there? Oh, sorry.
Money.
That's a nice one, John.
Wow.
240.
See, that's the third.
240 is the number
240 right
Tyler's
there.
by. That's great.
While you're up, we got to shout out that shirt real quick. Miko, we looked at it before the
What
show.
do we?
That's
Oh
beautiful.
man, look at
We got
that!
Tim
I
right
didn't even
there.
realize
Cool,
it.
man.
That is the coolest shirt ever.
With the bounty
Look
hunters
at
right
that!
there.
I
Heck
love
yeah.
the vintage vibes to it. The Kenner vibes to it, man. That's awesome
Yeah.
and kind of comic booky too.
Christmas present, baby.
That is cool, man.
Beautiful.
It was
Yeah,
so
when
small
you-
on my
when-
screen, I didn't even realize what it was until you.
Yeah, I thought it was Tetris or something.
So,
But at least you
included-
guys have been able to order these figures, right? Because here in the UK and in Europe,
Oh
apparently,
yes.
even on Hasbro Pulse, we have not been able to pre-order these figures, which is just mind-blowing. Like, what is going on? So weird.
Weird.
Go on, Fico. Have they said anything about whether they're going to resolve that or they're looking into it yet or not?
I haven't heard anything now. So
Dang.
just make it difficult for us to give you our money. Understand it. It's a pre-order. Like, just put it on there. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Worry about the stock levels later.
Yeah.
One thing I just wanted to bring up, I think TVC Mac and said in the comments, and I agree, is he brought out 2 clones. It was like at 5:53 my time.
Okay, let me see. Yeah. What did he say?
The 212th and another org of clones.
I want them to put out the 212th again with the new helmet.
That's what I was going to say.
And the live action paint job too, because
Yes.
the paint job is different as well.
They've done a good job. They've made the 5046. Please make the 212th. There it is.
Yes.
327 would have to be some retool though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, with the skirt and stuff.
it needs a
The
pauldron
pauldron,
and the skirt with the blaster holsters
But
too.
a lot of these things then they can lead to other clones. It can lead to a realistic Phase 2 Rex and a lot of clone commanders from the Clone Wars and stuff. But there's so much they can do, and we're at the point now complaining about too many Mandos. And 2 years ago we were all saying more Mandos. Now we're saying more clones. And 2 years from now, we'll see where we are. But
that's the magic of clones. I said I'm cloned out, except for the ones that I want.
yeah,
I don't want ARC troopers from video games anymore. I want the clones that I want. I want Cody. I want Bly. I want he's on my list. I can't think of it right now. Help me out, Tyler, from Magito, the Marine.
The
Marines.
Galactic Marines.
No, but the commander.
Bakara.
Thank you. I want those.
Bly, Bakara, Neo.
I'm with you, Chris. I
Well, we
want
have
all of those.
yeah.
So
Now
I
we have
don't
this
want any more
beautiful
clones.
clone.
I don't want any more clones because I'm sick of them, except for the 50 clones that I want. I want them.
And I want 100 of each of them.
Yeah.
But another army builder. Next reveal, we got some battle droids.
Real quick. I know
Yes,
John, you
yes.
gotta leave soon, but going back to the 501st, just super quick. One thing I want to praise is that they included both blaster sizes. That was really nice.
Yes.
However, what do we think of the Obi-Wan Kenobi card, considering that it's the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith? Does that bother you guys, or are you thinking, hey, they got it out on the Obi-Wan Kenobi card, but they kind of timed it right to celebrate Revenge of the Sith as well? Or do you think that was just a happy coincidence? Like, what do you guys think? Part of me is like, this should be on a Revenge of the Sith card, but the other part of me is like, it's kind of cool that they did a different card back. I don't know.
I mean, we already have a Revenge of the Sith card back and a Clone Wars card back, so I'm happy to have another source. And this image is, like they said, they picked this image because it was a nice, clean
It is a
close-up
nice
shot.
image.
I know, Tim,
It's
you
a
were
great
praising it
shot.
in your
It's
video.
a great shot.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
way of keeping the Obi-Wan Kenobi series relevant as well.
Yeah, and you got 2 clones. There's kind of one in the back. There's a couple others in the background. It reminds me of the Stormtrooper card from A New Hope with a couple of Stormtroopers on there, you know.
ANAPs on the weapons. Yeah, the
And the
blasters are
fact that
missing the little silver applications.
this
Dave Rubin.
this new clone body is based on the costume that was built for physical actual humans to wear in these shows. So it, you know, different than the CGI one from Revenge of the Sith. A little bit, whatever. But also I know the blasters are less gummy on the new Phase 1 501st Lieutenant.
They are.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so
Good.
so all these things they're doing for clones, I'm glad they're kind of getting them out of the way before doing 100 of them. Just, you know, I still want barbell hips on the Stormtrooper before we get 5 new ones every single year. So I'm glad the Clone Trooper is being sorted out before we go too crazy on them.
So, Tyler, to your question, you know how much I wanted the Snow Trooper. If the cost of getting the Snow Trooper was it being on a Mando card, even though I want the O9, I would have been thrilled. You know, I'm always the figure first. So,
Yeah.
you know, I care about the figure because, you know, as you can see, you know, I collect both ways, but I'm, you know, openings my passion.
Sure.
The other thing is, if I could throw a conspiracy theory out there, I'm willing to bet this was supposed to be an Ahsoka card back. And even Emily was actually talking about it as an Ahsoka in the live stream about it being Ahsoka. And then Chris is like, but, you know. So I think they couldn't find a good film out from Ahsoka. So it was like a last minute pivot to make it because you know it's largely an Ahsoka wave. So I think this was supposed to be an Ahsoka one.
Interesting.
And between worlds with Rex and Ahsoka and everything. And I forget the fact that also last year all the episode 1 and all the prequel stuff in general did not hit retail. It was all fan channel exclusives. I wonder if there's something of like retail's like we don't really want any prequel stuff until like here's an Obi-Wan and an Ahsoka figure. That's definitely not 100% not from the prequels, which is frustrating.
Right.
And I wish that they wouldn't. I wish that they wouldn't deny people Clone Troopers just because Ben Quadinaros didn't sell well 15 years ago. You know, that's the world we're living in.
The brick and mortar behemoths. They don't even paint with a paintbrush. It's just rollers. Everything gets these broad strokes.
We got Attack of the Clones Anakin a couple years ago, I guess, so it's not 100%. But the fact, last year the only thing that hit even Target was the retro collection. Figures and stuff. I don't know.
501st were in the Mando season 3 flashback as well, weren't they?
Yep. With Keller in, and they had some
Shock Troopers.
The Shock Troopers.
Yeah.
I hope they do Shocks next. But we can move on to the Battle Droid. I just wanted to get people's thoughts on kind of celebrating Revenge of the Sith 20 without celebrating Revenge of the Sith 20. You know?
Well, here's these guys also. Here's another some Revenge of the Sith and Phantom Menace army builders right here. The battle droids right here for you. Which we haven't seen a white box set since the X-Wing pellets, right?
I think so.
Wasn't 100 million years ago, but still. So they added all new legs for these guys, and this is the first time we've gotten the OOM commander on this
9
sculpt. Finally, 9. Give me Mao Mao, Papa Mao Mao, etc.
Mao Mao.
Because I bought so many of these guys when they repacked them in like 2021, and they've all fallen over, and they're all fully cooked spaghetti noodles on my shelf, and it is very frustrating.
So,
warped.
Here, my opinion on this is that they spent the tooling on the wrong thing. I'm happy to see that they updated this sculpt, but I think that they needed to retool the arms, not the legs. And the problem with the droids falling over or being noodly or whatever, that's just a plastic issue. They just need to use a firmer plastic. But I think that the smarter use of
they've done
that too, and they still didn't stand up 100%.
I think the tooling should have been spent on the freaking arms. They still can't hold their blasters. I don't know how they're maneuvering the rubbery noodly plastic on the one on the far left there, but that's like not true. They can't hold their blasters with both hands, and it's maddening.
He's not. The one on the left. The one on the left isn't holding with both hands. It's resting on the.
It's resting
on his left hand. The analogy I made to it is they had a patient come into the emergency room with a gunshot wound and a head cold, and they treated the head cold. You know, because I agree the arms were the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they upgraded something, and they can always add arms on another release.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
The
fact that the go ahead.
I was gonna say the one thing I did is I did make my own. I custom, one of my rare customs. I did make my own just to see if it could be done. Battle droid that could do a two-handed weapon grip, and I added an extra pin right by the elbow. I cut the forearm off and added a pin and stuck it back on. I had to use metal. There's no way you could do it with plastic. So at this diameter, this is a case where I do believe them. They would not be able to manufacture something that could do it, keeping this aesthetic. They would have to bulk it out a little bit, which I'd be fine with. I'd be fine giving up. Again, I'm a big form over function guy, so I'd be fine to give up a little inaccuracies in the diameter of the arms if it could actually pose it like it is on the box.
So they, back in the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith lines, they had battle droids that could hold it with both hands. They were just pre-posed that way, so the left hand was just posed like that, which they could do that again, and I think that's my preference because I don't know if they could.
Good point, John. Yeah. Or they could even do swappable arms too. If you take that'd be a good.
You can pop off this guy's arm pretty easily. It's like a ball joint, so they could definitely do that.
The backpacks also have it. The original ones from the Phantom Menace 25 years ago, the blasters could be on the side of the backpack, and they still haven't fixed these backpacks to be able to accurately do that.
Which is crazy because this sculpt was literally Star Life, so it could fold up and go into the MTT. That's exactly that was purpose built for that reason.
Yep.
But
one thing I would say though is the color of them looks better because didn't the re-release had like almost like a carbonized effect to it, wasn't it? Like quite shiny and
it was like a weird silvery wash or something.
Yeah, these look nice. They look better.
It wasn't consistent too across the entire figure.
No,
I can't remember if the head had more of it or the body had. I can't remember one of them had more.
I was just trying to look for mine in the cabinet. I couldn't find it. I'm like, where the hell is it? I know it was in TVC 1.0. It was falling over.
Yep. All my 1.0 ones are falling over. All my 2.0 ones are falling over. So I definitely disagree that the legs weren't an issue that needed fixing. I think that they were right to do that. And I'm looking forward to seeing if these things better.
Fine, but just do the arms too then.
I agree. Yes, I agree. The arms and the backpack could be also redone later. But, these are iterative changes, much like the clone. It's getting better all the time. So, and the fact that there are a lot of versions, like I'm playing through Jedi Survivor finally. There's so many versions I've done in Black Series recently off of that Battle Droid sculpt. And I want them to be able to do those in Vintage, but I don't want to keep buying them with the gummy legs that fall over. So, I don't know.
Can you zoom in on the arm?
Oh, go ahead.
Is there silver on them?
Yeah, there's silver like on
there it is. All right, there it is.
Pistons and stuff.
Wow.
Right here. And about the paint apps, I love that they all have unique
blast marks,
blast damage on their legs. And
oh
arms.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
You're so upset about the left arm, you didn't realize the beauty that was right in front of you. But it reminds me of the episode 1 figures from back in the day, the episode 1 line where there's 4 different versions, so you can army build them differently. Yes, at least they have that.
Here's a question for you guys. So obviously, this is a generic leader figure, right? 9. What I mean by that is that it's not a unique character. Like, check this out, guys. Look at all these Captain Enoch. all these Enochs. Look at them all.
Just spread them over yourself.
All those Enochs, right? So it's not a Captain Enoch, but how do we feel about including generic leader figures like a squad leader or a platoon commander? Because you can still army build those 9s, right? It's okay to have more than one 9.
Yeah, it's similar to the Stormtrooper commander from the first ever one, where it's like it's a commander, but it's generic, and you can have dozens of that guy because it works for all of them. And yeah, as Matthew pointed out, Steve had mentioned that the upcoming 4-packs will not have commanders, so there are I like this. I like this set, and I bought 4 of this set. I would have bought more honestly with the arm, but I like the legs, and I'm happy to have these.
I don't.
And you can have
I don't
in
mind.
the Clone Wars. They didn't all hold the blaster with double hands in Clone Wars. If you want to set up Clone Wars shots with, they're doing maintenance on their ships or whatever, you can do that. But it's not 100% perfect, but it is better than what we have. So I'll take it. But yeah,
I don't mind the inclusion. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, you finish. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't mind the inclusion of 9 here because it's not, you can have more than one battle droid commander in your armies, right? But I think the perfect way to execute it is when it's a situation where the leader can be a leader or a grunt if you remove a certain component, like a
Like the
pauldron, for
stormtrooper.
example.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
stormtrooper, right? I think that's the perfect way to execute these packs when possible.
Because
But-
ideally, you just want one of those guys with maybe 6 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, that's
Grunts.
exactly it, Tim. I don't mind being, but the ratio's off. I don't want to collect one 9 for every 3 battles.
Yeah.
I want the other versions as well. So,
Sorry,
I don't
John,
mind having
John Miko, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say a conspiracy theory that they redid the bottom legs because they were too thin before, but the arms are pretty thin too. So.
Yeah, and they
Throws that up.
so the legs on the previous version were constructed like the arms still are, where it's kind of like a left piece and a right piece, and they're put together. Whereas now the legs have a joint in the middle of 2 other things, and I guess they have rocker ankles, so it is a much sturdier construction.
Yeah, thicker.
So,
What do you call it? Base feet. It looks like as well, so that'll help them stand even better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm glad that they fixed it, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see improvements. Don't get me wrong. I just wish that the arms were improved upon as well. It's kind of like the situation with the biker scout, right? They improved the legs and they gave him rocker ankles, and that was all great. And they gave him a new helmet, and that was great. But I wanted them to go the step further with the wrists too. We were almost there. We were almost there.
The verge of greatness. We're always on the verge of greatness.
The verge of.
We were this close.
Yeah. So
Tyler, you need to get those Enochs on eBay before they attempt to put him on a single card.
Yeah.
Just get rid, man.
Well, actually, I wanna show this off real quick since we're on that topic. Hold on, just a second. Let me find this. I want to share this. Sebastian with Blizzard Force Customs. I think that's his page on Instagram. He sent me these custom card backs. We got Thrawn here. Oh, there we go.
wow.
With, dare I say, a better image than the one Hasbro chose. But anyway. And look at this. Look at that.
Or that LFL approved.
Even with all the Enochs that I have, and I do have a lot of them, I still want this. I still want this badly. And you know what? I'm a sucker, and they can get me for this, and this, and this. I'll keep on buying them. So,
wow.
Anyway, thank you, Sebastian. If you're watching, Blizzard Force Customs, I think is his page. If I'm like 99% sure. Thank you. And I still need to make a post about these, and I will do that. I'm sorry, life has been challenging lately, but thank you for these custom card backs, man. If you're watching, very much appreciate it. What do the backs look like? Let me show the backs. Sorry, hold on. Ooh, I love the backs. So they kind of got that. This is Thrawn's back, and you've got General Veers down there.
Oh, we need that Veers. We need that Veers, man.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a little bit of glare there. Let's see. Are they all the
And
same?
the A-wing.
Yeah, they're all the same. But oh yeah, and you can see we got Geonosis Padme up there, and
Rebels Ahsoka. Yeah.
got Paz Vizsla over here. Yeah, he did a great job with these. They look phenomenal. And as Tim said, there's a lot less of that legal gumph that he calls it, right? How do you even spell that word? Is it GUMF?
GUMPH.
Gump.
Look, please don't get Chris into like we don't need to go there with spelling. We just don't need to go there.
Spell collar, Tim. Come on, spell collar. Come on, do it. I just love that we're going to see like an eBay listing for Captain Enoch someday. Quantity 100. We're going, hey Tyler, we know it's him.
Chris? Can you write me a check? And also at the same time, check if there's nobody at the door. Yeah,
it's a good thing you provide the context because those two words are spelled the exact same way.
Exactly.
Speaking of spelling things correctly, I gotta go.
Hey.
You guys have a little more time, so I want to see your guys' top 25 list. I gotta go, unfortunately. But please spell things correctly when you submit your list. How's that for a little tie-in? Don't forget to. You have 6 days left, and Tyler and I got to go over ours a few weeks ago on a stream. But I would love to hear your guys' as well if you're able to, and I will catch up in a bit. Thank you,
John,
all.
thank you for sticking around
John.
long enough to go through all the images. Really appreciate you, man.
Yes.
John,
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
I just want to say, I know neither one of us have time for this, but I do think we should have a community like naming like wiki or something like that. For this thing at some point, because like I don't even know how to address the Jedi arrest Palpatine. Is that Office Palpatine? I mean, I think that's part of the problem with these. If we had like consistent community naming, it would help some of these figures a great deal.
Yeah.
Red dress Palpatine. Well, that's 5 Palpatines. The man loves crimson. So one day, maybe by Last Figure Standing, we'll agree on some of these names. But all right, thank you guys. Good luck. May the force be with you.
Cheers, John. See you later, mate.
Bye. See ya.
All right, so I'm going to be hosting from here for the first time, so hopefully things don't become an utter disaster. Any other comments on the figures before we move on the recent reveals? Any other saved rounds? Nope.
No, none here.
All right. Well, let's go through. I think John Miko's list is up first. So let's share. Hold on 1 second.
Is Miko on mute? Share. Are you on mute, Miko?
Oh, I am. Sorry. Thank you. I'll admit I am not good at these 25 list of figures.
Oh, this is Chris's list. Well, we'll go through Chris's first. I guess.
Go,
Can you guys see this? Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Sorry. Let me.
This is like every Zoom meeting ever.
I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. All right. So we're gonna. All right. Let's see.
I got my new mic. I forgot I hit the button. Doesn't tell me I'm on mute.
Okay.
John,
my boss calls me a boomer. My boss calls me a boomer when I do that. He's like, "You boomer!" I'm like, shut up.
Can you guys still not see? Oh man.
I'm telling you, this is every Zoom meeting,
dude. What
John
is going
talking
on?
on mute. Tyler can't share the presentation.
I'm literally sharing it on my computer. Oh, that's a bummer.
So you open up the image, yeah. So it's an open thing on your computer,
right?
And then you go to present.
I know.
And then you do present.
That's exactly what I did.
Present window, is it? I think.
And then you select what you want to present.
You go to.
Hey, John, our buddy Sherry just took a dig at Tyler.
What?
Dave Rubin took a dig at Tyler.
Let's do entire screen. Does that work? He is yeah, I know. Yeah. IR Marine. All right.
You want us?
Man, it's not working, dude. All right. So if you guys have your lists ready, you can, I think, request to share them from your screen and I can approve it. That might work. I don't know why it's not working, man. No, I was the host. That's what doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very I'm such a boomer when it comes to technology. It's the worst. I'm an old soul at heart. John, are you able to pull up your John Miko? Are you able to pull?
I'm not gonna. I'm not trying to push in the queue or anything here, but I've got mine open, so I can just test it if you like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Go, Tim.
Go for
it. I just pulled mine up, but
I want to see if it's going to ask
Oh,
me permission
it says that I'm sharing now, but it's not come up on the screen.
That's what I'm saying. The same thing happened to me.
Look! If you look at below the thing, you can see that I'm like a separate. You know, when you add people to the stream, there's another one of me down there. Can you see that? There you go.
There it is. Okay. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I missed that. Okay.
I'll stop sharing and Chris can do his. Yeah.
No, it's fine. We could do yours first. It's fine.
Yeah, go Tim.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. So you want to tell us about your choices and why, and encourage others to. This is your chance to push your wants. So.
No, well, look, this isn't about me influencing what other. Like, everyone's got their own things that they want, and that's fine.
There's always a little bit of influence around.
But there's, with March Madness, obviously you do the whole ranking thing. So I always put Garen down as number one, just to try and help him get onto the bracket in the first place. And then the rest of my characters really are things that are going to fill gaps in my loose collection. So this isn't really about sort of necessarily like who I want in the line or like an amazing card back or anything like that. These are all kind of like practical choices for me. I'm just looking if there's any in the list that aren't the case of that. But no, I think most of these are like that. So obviously I've got Garen down. I've spoken about C3PO so many times before, and he's I just feel that a new protocol droid will open up. If you don't want C3PO, there's loads of other protocol droids from loads of other media that you would probably want in your collection. So,
yeah,
he for me needs to be done. And if you're talking about card backs, I think he the only one that we don't have from the first 12 on a Star Wars card now? Is he the only? He's the only one left, isn't he? So there's that.
Right. Well, what about the was the Death Squad commander one of the first 12?
Oh yeah,
he was.
But we've got him on a Star Wars card, haven't we?
Not the exact figure.
He's not. He's not the. Yeah. No, but yeah, I know what you mean. But they've released C3PO. I mean, that awful figure. They've even reissued him, and he's on an Empire Strikes Back card. It's just weird with a Star Wars image. So, and then going through them really, really quickly. Obviously, Baze. We've got Chirrut. I love Rogue One. There's quite a few Rogue Ones on here. Obviously, has a crossover with Andor, which is my favorite Disney Plus series. We've also got some prequel love on there, some Revenge of the Sith. We've got the Galactic Marines. With Kiadi Mundi, of course. Not forgetting Luthen. Just skipped over him. Luthen's a must. And then you've also got the Elite Troopers as well from Kashyyyk. So plenty of army builders there, prequel love, things like that.
The Luthen, that's his like camel colored jacket. Is that right? Or coat, I mean.
So I can't remember which picture what that scenes that's from. That's from his speech, isn't it?
That's the speech outfit.
Yeah. So the one I want is the one where he interacts with the figure of Andor that we've got.
Okay, that's when they're in that like brick building and they're getting the shootout, right? Yeah.
That's the one that I would personally go for. But then obviously he looks really cool in his hooded thing as well, and
the black robe. Yeah.
And
that's the thing is that so many people. That's the thing is so many people when it comes to Luthen, they don't bother to specify which outfit. They just put Luthen Rail.
It's so similar.
What do you want me to put my?
It is similar.
Towards, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
the outfit at the end with the hood and the pants that aren't like cuffed at the bottom, not cuffed, but whatever it is. They're like it's a different outfit, but it looks very similar. Anyway.
So moving on, I've gone for the AFAT driver. He's just one that I've always wanted in the line, and we've got the Hoth Stormtrooper coming, so he's naturally on my list. And then I put 2B on there. I think he's the first time that I've had him in my March Madness, and it is because of his appearance in Ahsoka as well. So there's that crossover. I don't know whether it is an actual 2-1B, but he was there, wasn't he, with Sabine and whatever. Bodhi, obviously, Rogue One, a few other Rogue One characters. And then I've gone for, who's that? Chief Chirper. Always got to have an Ewok on my on my list. I know John's got an Ewok on his list that I also want, but Chief Chirper, the one is for me is the one that's missing the most. Part of the 96 as well. I've put Bosk on there. I think this is the first time I've put Bosk on my list, even though he's my favorite bounty hunter. I've been convinced by a few other people that he is in need of an update. So
yeah, I gotta be honest, man. Like the old one, it's sculpted nicely, but the articulation in certain places is so dated, especially with his hands and trying to hold his blaster. It's so hard.
He's got a swivel at the top of his arm. It's pretty poor. He's got no hinged wrists. He's got swivel waist. It's about time it had an update.
I'd be down for a totally new one.
Mon Mothma from Return of the Jedi. Then I've got season 1 Ezra, of course, because we've got a bunch of the other Rebels figures. I think he's the glaring miss that we need.
Tim, I feel like. Oh, sorry. I was going to say I feel like a lot of people are championing for Ezra season 1. So I'm curious how he does in March Madness there.
Yeah. I bet he's in there, and I bet he's ranked high. I'm sure. We got the Ghost and the crew and whatever, and we do need him. EV99, some crossover there, both Mandalorian and obviously Jabba's palace. We got 88, so I would like her if it is indeed a her. The Wolfman, I voted for him all the way through Last Figure Standing. I still want him. Just maybe he's lower down because I feel that a few people might include him on their list, and he'll probably make it into the bracket, and then we'll see where we go from there. Then more Rogue One figures. So I've got the 2 very cool aliens from Rogue One there. We've got the Pal, and it's Bistan, isn't it? That's his name.
Yep.
Somebody asked me, why do you want Bistan when you haven't got the U-Wing? And that, I guess that is quite kind of true, but I don't know. I just like the cool aliens, man. And then we've got Leia from the Ewok Village. We've got Callus for more Rebels.
Nice.
We've got all the goodies from Rebels. We need some of the bad guys as well. Kira for that Solo love. She's the only figure from Solo that I've got on my list, and I don't really want to forget about Solo because I did enjoy the film, and I just love the outfit that she's wearing, and she's a cool character. And then what do you call these guys? Clone Commandos?
Or Republic Commandos, yeah.
Republic Commandos, yep. Love them in the Bad Batch. Opens up loads of repaint possibilities, so another army builder as well.
Tons of them, tons of repaints, yeah.
And then finally, I've gone for the Pike Syndicate because, of course, we've got pretty much everything else that we need from Book of Boba Fett.
It's a great army builder choice.
Yeah, I just think it's needed, and so that's in there. I would say that this list isn't 100% final because this is the list that I put together maybe 2 weeks ago, and I haven't submitted it yet. And I know you can amend, but I haven't submitted it yet. But I will be submitting it before obviously the deadline. But I don't think I would make any changes to that just yet. Somebody in the comments said no prequels. I mean, look,
that's not true. Some prequels in there. What are you talking about?
I mean, sorry, no sequels. Oh,
okay, yeah.
So, look, we've only got 25 slots, right? And you have to prioritize what you want. And for me, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy trump everything else because I'm a live action first, but I do have some animated in there with Rebels.
Yeah.
And then Rogue One obviously is that in between. So, that's my list.
So a few things, this version of Kira is the one that most people tend to gravitate towards, and I guess that's because it's her most compelling outfit in the whole movie. But when you think about how many people also want Dryden, right, and then you think about that final scene where they're fighting on the space yacht or whatever it was. I think if I would have put her on my list, and she's never made it onto my list, but if I were to put Kira on my list, that's the one I think I would go for, is the black dress at the very end where she's fighting with the vibroblade knives or whatever,
Yeah, I mean,
because if you're gonna get with Dryden too, that scene building stuff. But then again, the Kessel Kira goes with
exactly, it goes with the ones that
Lando.
we've got. Yeah, that's my thinking. It's like we're not, they're not going to go heavy on solo figures, are they? So
Yeah,
if there's one figure that I could pick that I need to sort of fill a gap of a scene, it's that Kira.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Somebody asked me about no Acolyte. I mean, the Acolyte was all right. It's just, as I say, you got 25 slots.
I'm confused. I thought this was your list.
It is my list. Yeah.
Why are people saying no? I don't go to people. No OT on yours. Yeah.
No, but let's be fair. Acolyte for me would be quite near the bottom of what I want in figure form. Yeah.
But you can probably assume some things maybe could be coming, and that's why they're also not on your list. So that could be some strategy. Yeah.
I like Mon Mothma here. I think that they really got to get her out. I mean, the one that we have, I've got the Revenge of the Sith one up there, but the one from Power of the Force 2, was it right? It's just so ancient. And if they did the one from Return of the Jedi, they could do a Rogue One with just a different head retool and a different card back, right? So there's some tooling reuse there. I think we really need Mon Mothma very badly.
Yeah, and Mon Mothma, she's in Andor, she's in the prequels, but like to start with, I want the Return of the Jedi version because we've got Akbar, we've got a lot of the other figures that are in that briefing scene. We need Medine, but if they did Medine, then they could obviously do some of those Republic guys as well from Ahsoka, couldn't they? Because they got very similar outfits on them. What you say?
I'm kind of forfeiting my nerd card here, but there are 96 of them to remember, so go easy on me. Was Mon Mothma one of the original 96? I'm trying to remember.
No,
she was not. Okay,
but
she was really.
She did get the retro figure, which was one of my favorite figures of last year. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly the same thing. She was releasing the retro collection like on a Kenner card back, but it's one of those ones that was never done back in the day.
Like Tarkin and the Rebel Fleet Trooper, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's funny that they did Medine, but not her. I don't know. That's weird.
Well, that was.
I mean, I'm quite happy with my list. I think there's a good mix on there. I don't think there's too many on there that if they said if they revealed like, oh, we're doing this figure, that people would like moan too much about it. I think there's some pretty good ones on there.
Yeah, for sure. Good diversity. I like it. Let me see now that I know that it pops up in the bottom left there. Are you all good, Tim?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Solid list, Tim. I'd buy all of them.
Let me see.
Well, that's the thing. I'll probably buy all of yours as well.
That was like a very chef reactions to reactions from John.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, wasn't it?
9 out of 10. I'd eat it.
Yeah.
I'd believe
it was
it.
Absolutely awful. What am I saying? I'd eat it all. Yeah.
I'd believe it. Why not?
All right. So let me do present.
I love that.
And we're gonna do.
That's it. I'd buy it all.
Yeah.
Why not?
I swear my Instagram feed is governed by what you watch, John, and it's like trying to feed me, because I think I posted one in our group chat and I was like, this is so funny, and you go, oh, I watch him all the time, and then someone else in our chat said it as well. I'm like, okay, that's where I'm getting it from, and then that Waxen kid comes up. And that's you as well, isn't it?
He's got the drip, man.
Yeah,
that's me, man. The drip right now. What's he doing?
All right,
I'm after your girl. I'm after your girl. She's coming home with me, man.
Oh man.
All right,
so
I've got Mr. Mikos pulled up. I don't know why it's not able to pull up my PowerPoint that I made, but anyway, whatever. We'll run with this.
So. Look, full disclaimer: this is my list alone. Yeah, there's a lot of OT on here. Some prequel, and what do we have? Some Andor / I think it's just Andor. But I do want to just pan over to if you can. So I just wanted to show everyone this shelf I put together. I'm going to probably screw up my camera here, but there's a throne room that I've wired some LEDs.
I love that. Look at all
I
that.
got my sail barge, my skiffs. There's over
Sarlacc.
$1,000 in just world building items on this shelf.
Oh
So
yeah.
for me this year, I'm focusing on adding some of the world building figures, deep cuts that go into this. I know they're deep cuts, but I think some of them can be leveraged with some other tooling at some point as well. So let's just keep that in mind. Just coming back to me here.
Well, look at how Cassian helped create some of the skiff guards, right? Was it
Yeah,
Cassian and Cal Kestis too, possibly?
yeah, and
And
I'll show here, right? So Shasa Teal is my number one with Yatzer Ren and Fozek, and I think Chris and Tim, and I think on even March Madness, if you look at Return of the Jedi character debuts, these are usually the top three.
Yep.
From a character debut perspective, there's a member of the Discus comments, Chris. I think it's Binary Sun, but I'm forgetting who it is.
Yes,
but they had a great thought about using my number 16, which I think is also on Tim's list and Chris's list, and maybe even Tyler's list. I'm not sure. The AT-AT driver, that the boots are the same boots, just different deco than Shasta Teal, and you could probably use the lower body of the AT-AT driver for Shasta Teal. So,
interesting.
Wow. Okay.
It's one of those things where I think you can get Shasta Teal out of getting a new AT-AT driver. From there, I'd love an updated Barada, which is an original 96, right? I mean, he is, right? Even though that had Cathaba.
Yeah.
Window Weequay, interacts. These guys, a lot of them interact with our primary characters. And I know, Chris, you write about this a lot, that they are backgrounders, but think about how much Fozek interacts with Han and Luke and Chewie in the palace.
He's the one that grabs one of their arms, right?
Yeah.
When they're getting escorted towards the skiffs.
Yeah, he grabs Luke. He's got inside of Luke.
Arm. Yeah.
So I have them there. Then I have Arleal. And then I got, so Tim, I wanted to include Ewok as well.
I want that Ewok, man.
I included Breath up here, the Dalmatian Ewok. I wrote an article for Bantha Skull that spoke to that Ewok and how it was slated in 2014, and then didn't come out in that Ewok pack, even though there was images of it and prototype photos. And my strategy a bit on mine was to include primary characters towards the end, because I felt like a lot of people include those primary characters in the beginning and they're heavily weighted. So I wanted to weight some of the probably less popular characters first. But I included Luthen because he hasn't been made. And has he been made in anything? I don't think he's been made in anything other than TV 6-inch. I could be wrong. So yeah, I got Baze there. I don't have Bodhi. I'm sorry. I wanted to just spread the love. But yeah, so then I go into
Melshi, though. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got Melshi on there. You got a lot of Rogue One love on there.
Yeah, and I included Boba Fett. I know Chris is a big, I think he's on Chris's list too. But I'd really love to have an updated Empire Strikes Boba Fett. I think he'd do really well on the line. And we can get some barbell hips on there and maybe update the VC 186 one as well, if we ever wanted that again. So I know, Tyler, it's one of those, would he leverage tooling? Does he really belong? But I want him, so I include him. So you guys could do what you want with him, whether he makes the bracket or not. Or I know he doesn't rank really high, but again, I know you guys prefer all new tooling. So, and then Chewbacca, I really want a updated, 100% all newly tooled Return of the Jedi Chewbacca.
I think it's time. I mean, I'm glad they put out the new legs, but we really just need an all new one, right? I mean, at this point.
And don't get me wrong, I love the 2004 one. It's one of my favorite figures all time. I mean, when that figure came out, whew, but just seeing Chrysanthemum, and they really can't leverage Chrysanthemum. And Chris, I know this is again something I've spoken with you, right? Chewbacca is more of a scrawnier, smaller Wookiee, so he really needs his own tooling. And
for sure,
again,
sure, yeah.
Remember when they did Black Chewbacca? I mean, in the Black series, and they were like, "Oh, he's based on the comic appearance." It's like, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Man.
and then as everyone's has stated here, right, with Tim, and I'm sure everyone, that we need an all new 3PO and put them in like a carbonized paint deco and no removable panels, please. And then two tubes. I know I've mentioned this before. I've watched the last 3 or 4 episodes of Andor like over and over and over, and he's pretty prominent in that, especially in the scene. And they're such cool looking characters. So I'd love to see them. Obviously Saw, and then Melshi. Let's get Melshi in there in that outfit, and I think he could lend himself to a lot of reuse with some Rogue One troopers.
I bet you he'll be in season 2, Melshi.
Yeah, definitely, right? Because that was kind of the end scene. There was him and Cassian splitting
breaking out.
Yeah. Again, AT-AT driver would be great. So I tried to include some bad guy troopers, if you want to call him a trooper. And then also your Endor Rebel Commando. Would love to see an updated one of those, and then get some kind of trooper pack would be amazing. And then some prequel love here. Ki-Adi Mundi, or Ki-Adi, as ever. I always said Ki-Adi. I always said Om 9. Sorry. But I would love to see him again. I know Chris, you're a big fan of him. Tim too. Saisitin or Saisitin, however you say it, would be great to get some more of those Jedi that were in the office duel with Mr. 21 there, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. And then I put Sebulba. I had him in my list last year. It'd be nice to get him on a pretty cool card with that film out right there. Would be nice. I know the Black Series
card back.
Black Series just got one, and it makes you. I think I was talking to Johnny Mustache, and he was like, "Man, I didn't think I needed a new Sebulba until I saw that one."
I'm not sure if that figure is going to be appreciated by the Black Series community. I'm not sure,
because they'll never get the pod racer. So what's the point?
It's just
what's the point? It's just like.
And a bunch of the others that we've kind of already got, flannel face and whatever,
Yeah, it's always great to see the continuation of the line and how they put all these random pod racers into it, right? And they didn't put, they never got to Sebulba in 1.0, but he should be there if they're there now. And then I got to go with my four favorite good guys here, man.
Or OT plus prequels.
My 4 favorite good guys. Tim, I know you had Leia on there. I would love to see that. I know we've talked about this before. Do not use the same expression on the Black Series one. Final the Death Star 2 Luke, or obviously the end scene, the funeral scene. Luke would be great. I know people would want to really use that for some good toy photography meme expressions. I know a lot of times they use some of his expressions in that scene right there. Isn't there that one, looking back at my toy collection or something, with one of those pictures of Luke? And anyways, I would love to see that one, and all new, tooled. There might be some leveraging from a couple of the recent Lukes that were made. I don't know if it's Imperial Light Cruiser or whatever,
Yeah,
but
perhaps some leg
but
reuse maybe.
at the end of
The
the
training
day,
one, maybe.
yeah, maybe it's the training. The training one has different lower legs. I think it's the
Yeah.
Imperial Light Cruiser one. But
Mm.
but regardless, we need that for the new Vader and all that, and with the flap.
For
And
sure.
the last one we got there is pretty outdated, right, Chris? It's pretty old, and
The Death Star 2 Luke?
yeah,
Yeah, it's 2010. That was Wave 3.
yeah, with the flap.
Oh, with the flap, that
Oh.
goes back to the Legacy Collection.
Yeah,
And I think it used some of the Death Star Trooper tooling, so it has like the arthritic knees where they bunch the pants up before they go in the boots, but just like looks like he has arthritic knees.
Yeah.
yeah. Someone's
Yeah.
someone's
Doesn't he have massive
mentioning,
balls on his elbows as well? That Luke with the flap, like
I don't
something
remember.
really.
I actually
yes.
sliced that flap off, took a scalpel and sliced the flap off and glued it onto the 2010 one.
Smart. Someone's mentioning a new Watto too, please. New Sebulba, new Watto. Trevor, I agree with you, man. A Watto would be awesome. He was. I had a lot of these listed, and I just didn't make.
And Watto's popping back into the canon here in a couple weeks.
In the comics, right? You were saying.
Yep. Don't spoil it though. If
Nope.
people who don't know.
And yeah, just to final out my list, close out my list here. I want to get some more Hoth figures too, and I would love an updated Han in his Hoth outfit. And then of course we need an updated Obi-Wan. It's severely outdated.
To go with Anakin.
And to go with Anakin that we're getting. So
100%. Make the mains.
There we go.
Here's a question for you, John. The Tauntaun. Would you take it just a straight repack of the Legacy Tauntaun that the Search for Luke Skywalker one? Because obviously it's different to Luke's, isn't it? It's got both tusks and whatever. Would you be happy just to take that if it meant you could get like a pack-in of a new Han Solo? Like, because I kind of think that Tauntaun's pretty cool. So
I think it's still pretty damn good. Yeah, absolutely.
I would
They only released those once, right? Or they released Luke's in TVC, and then Han's in was it the Dark Skies or whatever it is?
Shadows of the Dark Side.
Shadows of the Dark Side.
Shadow of the Dark Side. Yeah.
So I'm sure people want those.
Tim being going to be the actual guy. Tim is correct. It was still the Legacy Collection.
Okay.
It's Shadows of the Dark Side is the fan name.
Fan name, so it's Legacy. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think they stand up great, man. They still stand up pretty.
Yeah, because I think that'd be, we've got Luke's as a way of getting, Han Hoth in the line.
Great idea.
Chris, you have a hard cutoff of 7 o'clock, right?
Give or take, yeah.
Oh shit! He should have. Sorry, he should have.
That's my bad. Sorry. We can go back if you want to talk more, but do we want to just?
No, I'm good.
Chris's real quick.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me stop sharing, and then do.
While you bring that up, so that last one there was that Revenge of the Sith Obi, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's the thing. Like people are talking about Watto, and this is the thing. You've only got 25, and I want all those too. I want Watto. I want Obi. I want a new Maul. I want a new Qui-Gon. Emily mentioned in the stream about the clones, and then it said to have all your Jedis to fight. I think she even mentioned that, right? I was thinking, well, where are these Jedis? Like the ones that we got 10 years ago? Like, what, we need these. We need the new Jedis,
Right.
So there's,
yeah.
Why won't it let me bring up? Hold on a second here. Let me close these out.
Oh, I see. Chewie.
yes, Aquilus. You could do the blue. You could do the blue coat on the card, and then
There we go.
reissue in the brown coat. Man, yeah, he's got it.
Chewie's
Awesome.
saying hi, everybody.
Chewie.
Good boy. All right, do it up, Chris.
All right, so I'm going to have Arleal at the top of all my lists until he gets made. I'm going to pout and kick. I want him. You showed him to me. I want him. I don't think he's coming soon. Just my conspiracy theory side. I think if they're going to do him, they're going to hold him for the 50th anniversary.
Damn, really? Do you think so? That long?
I don't. That's just my vibe. That's just my vibe. Could be wrong. You know, there's no inside info on that. That's just my vibe that they're gonna hold. Just because the way Steve said it's the biggest anniversary in pop culture history. I
suppose they got to save something for that anniversary now that they're doing the mains so early, right? So.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with that. But I'm going to have him at the top of my list. I think that would be a mistake. I think he should be out timed with the Cantina. I think that's where you maximize your sales on this figure. So hopefully I'm wrong. But anyway, he's going to be at the top of my list. Same as the other two guys. C-3PO. I was pushing so hard for Luke personally because I said I bought 2 cases, and Tyler, you were alluding to it's all the scenes I have set up where Luke goes in. Ben's hut scene, the Cantina, the Lars homestead. There's all these.
Put one in your Falcon in the cockpit.
In the Falcon, in a couple places in the Falcon. Have him in the land speeder. So I need multiple 3PO basically has the same appearance through the entire trilogy. Yeah, and I need him for much more of him for all those scenes. So if I bought 2 cases of Luke, I'd buy 3 cases of 3PO. But the C3 series protocol droid, as these other guys said, is unchanged, and it's ubiquitous throughout everything. So you just have all these retooling possibilities. Right up to Mando season 3, where we're seeing that blue bartender droid could be redone. Number 3, I have the episode 5 Boba Fett. And I realized when I posted this on IG, I don't think I put my list. You might be confused if you're looking at number 21. They're different, and I'll get to that. So episode 5, Boba Fett. It's killing me that we don't have it. I do think it should be mostly new again because of barbell hips and things like that need to be done. Hasbro, I don't care if you charge $50 for it, whatever it takes. I just need this before I'm done collecting. I just need this figure in the line. For 4, Tyler, I talked to you about this in advance of March Madness coming up. I've never had the AT-AT driver on any of my lists, even though I want it, 96 and all that. But I put him here because, with the reduced paint apps we're getting, figures are looking very plasticky now. So I kind of was figuring that in, if they don't have that user universe, they don't have that a little bit of a wash on them. Well, he's a fancy pants pilot. He's in the cockpit. He's not getting dirty. So this figure, if it doesn't have that used universe look, it won't, break the fantasy for me, because I think that's how they would look in reality. I have been on an EV99 kick, like campaign. People say, you didn't have her on your list, then I got tired of campaigning. I have been on this kick since before TVC, going back to the Legacy Collection. I just want EV99 updated. I loved that character when I was a kid. I really, when I was a kid, you guys are local, but you're not old enough to remember it. I don't think you remember Channel 56 Creature double features on Saturday mornings. They'd show 2 like cheesy 50s, horror or UFO, and it was like they were creepy stuff, they were horror stuff, and I loved it. So I've always loved stuff that creeps me out a little bit, and I was so creeped out by her in Return of the Jedi the first time I saw it, with that robotic voice torturing droids. I absolutely love that character, and I always look at the vintage EV99 and the one we got in 1997, and there's subtle differences, but there are things that are the back of the torso is identical. So I'm not sure this is 100% newly tooled. I don't think we've ever had. If it is newly tooled, I think they would recast the old molds back then. I think that's what this is. They recast the 1985 mold, made some tweaks. I mean, the legs are, there's differences to the legs and arms, subtle differences, but there's so much similar. I'm not going to say we ever got a new EV99 ever in the completely new. We need that, and the mouth needs to articulate.
Can you do me a favor? Can you stop tapping your thing, because I don't want the arms or legs to fall off of your.
I know, no kidding.
Take care of it.
I've never posed that figure. Like when I got it, I never once posed it or tried to articulate it. I just left it as is and sent it to AFA. 6. I've been a huge Maul fan since episode 1. I did not like the one we got in 2012. Even in 2012, there was so much left on the table of what a Maul figure needs to do, to include the range of motion on the head. He kind of does that crouch with that predatory look up at his prey, and that figure can't do it. So I want a new modern Maul so bad. I can't stand it. Just like the other guys. Episode 3, Obi-Wan, got to have the companion piece. To the Anakin, have to have it. And as John was saying, the one we have, it does. You can get a version with ball jointed hips, actually, but it's just not up to the snuff for today. Continuing the theme of companion pieces, I can't stand that we have that new Revan, and we have that horrible 30th anniversary collection, Darth Malik.
And it is horrible. It is a horrible figure.
With this is back when the figures were for kids too. Still, with the removable jaw, like the horror. Hey kids, horrible maiming action. Make your figures grotesque as possible.
Doesn't he have swivel arms too? Swivel elbows?
Swivel elbows, yeah.
They can even pop out too, like the AT-TE driver from way back. Can it?
Oh yeah. Swivel elbows.
That's terrible. Oh, hate that figure. Does he have no articulation in the legs too?
No. He's got they're hinged
no
knees,
ankles.
hinged knees, and no ankles.
Ugh.
Oh no, sorry. The knees do swivel too. It's the I don't know if you can see that. It's the early ball jointed knees where they could hyperextend forward, which I always hated. So need that. The episode 1 Anakin was never on my list, but I got so mad seeing the Black Series one that, again, now they have it, now I want it. So integral to so many, if you're setting up scenes, which I like to do, I like to set up scenes, so integral to so many episode 1 scenes. And having there was one in a battle pack that kind of had hinged knees. That's like the best we got, but it's still jarring, when you're trying to set up these scenes to have these figures that just don't blend in with the aesthetic. So one in episode 1 Anakin. The Bespin Luke we have, again, theme of companion pieces. We got that awesome new episode 6/5 Vader, and the Luke we have him fight with is a turd. So need that updated, because of the cantina. Even though it's not the same cantina, got to have Akmina. And I've noticed other people popping Akmina on their list, which is really cool. I think did she beta in the top 64 last year, didn't she, Tyler? Akmina?
Oh man, maybe I can't. John's the one with the photographic memory. I can't remember, but
I love her. I've got the Starlog 19 with the holiday special crew on there. So Cantina made me want Akmina. First time it's on my list. Again with the other guys, got Ewok Village Leia on there. But to John's point, please, for the love of God, no mean mugging. The mean mugging has got to stop in general. Just like no more mean. It's like they're crutch now, with everything. So please, no mean mugging of Leia. I put Brendan.
What's the girl from Andor? What's her name? Bix, right? Bix is her name. Isn't the TBS Bix Khalif has a really nasty look on her face too, doesn't she? A scowl kind of. I don't know why they're doing that.
I don't know.
But anyway,
but it's just, please make it end. I even think the Balin has a little too much mean mugging of the figure. That would be my only criticism. The reason I loved Balin so much is Ray Stevenson kind of underplayed the character. he was the big baddie, but he didn't come across that way. He was more serene and tranquil. So like I don't like seeing all the mean mugging come into the figures. Garindan's there because I was afraid Tim would cross the pond and shoot me if I didn't put him on there. I actually don't want that figure. Hasbro, please do not make yes. Hasbro, please don't make Garindan. I'm kidding. I've wanted this for a while. When TVC was coming back, it was very high on my wish list, in part just because I don't know if Johnny Mustache has done the card, but that card, a Grindan card with I could picture like the blue pill and everything would just look incredible. Shasatil, just like did you have her on your list too? I can't remember.
I didn't. It's another one that I would take all day long though. But you know,
yeah.
John did. John was number one.
My list would go on for 150 easily. So look at your guys. Like, I want 2-1B. I want Boss. My list sucks. I got to change it. Again, go right into Barada as John said. A quasi 096. We had the Barada card with the Cathala figure with the Barada name. So give us fix the mistake. Give us the Barada. Give us the Barada across the board. Figure, name, pill, and film out. Yachts Orin. Let's start working on the second skiff there. Get that one going. And we unfortunately need some updates there. TIE Fighter Pilot, again, first time on my list. Same reason as the AT-AT driver. Just I figured that if they didn't go crazy on the paint apps, I don't think it would look terrible. These go right together. Even though I couldn't remember Bakar's name from mental block a little while ago. It's been on my list every single year. Just I got to get that Magneto bridge scene done. So give me Kiadi-Mundi, the Galactic Marine, and Bakara. So 21 is a different FET. This is the pre-pro 2 or 3. I can't remember. Let me
the poncho one, right? That's the one with
two,
the
I think.
Good, the bad, and the ugly poncho, right?
No, not the poncho.
Okay.
It's the pre-pro 2. This is the one that actually appears on the 21 back Kenner card. It does not match the episode 5 armor. It's kind of got the when you said poncho, I was thinking pouches. It does kind of have the episode 6 pouch belt, whereas the episode 5 kind of has the 2 on the side. It's got the red and yellow gauntlet. It's got a different, I'm assuming it's a flamethrower attachment, so it's not the same figure. The reason I want that so badly is we have never had the 21 back, perfect replica 21 back card in the vintage collection proper. The closest we came was with VCP03, the rocket firing FET, which that doesn't count to me because it's a 5 POA retro figure. We've never had that card in the vintage collection proper, but where we have such high fidelity in the figures now, I don't think you can slap an episode 5 or an episode 6 FET on that film out, which has the pre-pro 2 armor. So I want a real pre-pro 2 armor. And the Hot Toys did a figure, and I think, John, you have it, I believe. They can actually swap out the parts and go from pre-pro 2 to episode 5.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just one. And again, it's just a way to get the that card into TVC proper. We've had it, the film out on the episode 5 and 6 cards. We've never had the one with the call out text in the flame in TVC, and I just really want that. And this is actually, as far as execution, because there could be shared tooling between 5 and this. To me, that would be like a perfect 2-pack. If it costs more, put the 2 of them in a 2-pack, $50. People complain, but they'll buy it just to knock those out.
I love that idea. Yeah. I love that idea. Put them in a 2-pack.
Yeah, give me an all new proper episode 5 card with an episode 5 FET, something from Cloud City, and then give me the Kenner card with the Kenner true figure on it. 22 is T3M4 from that's also from the Knights of the Old Republic. Just again, something to build out that world to go with Revan and things like that. If you look at the light side Revan, I can't remember what was that game. Galaxy of Heroes. If you watch any of the clips, I've never played the game, but I've watched the clips. He's there with fighting with Revan, I believe, in those clips. So it's kind of the astromech droid from that era. So I think that'd be cool. Again, the theme of companion pieces, episode 1, Obi-Wan to go with Darth Maul. This one is sliding down my list just because, again, I'm getting tired of asking for it. So that's what happens to me. The Tonica Sisters were almost off my list because I'm just tired of asking for it. This one I'm not going to pronounce I'm going to call it Labria because that's the old name. I'm not going to pronounce the new name because I don't know how to pronounce the 15 apostrophes in the new name. So I'm just going to call it Labria. But to me, if George Lucas, decided to give a character its own glam shot in the cantina, I want a proper figure of it. The one we have from the old Power of the Force 2 cinema scene, which was then repainted for the Saga collection, is basically a Labria head on a completely invented body. It doesn't match at all. Anything below the neck doesn't match the character at all.
Wow.
Fully inaccurate. So I just wanted an accurate one of that. And then finally, to continue the 096 theme, really now I'm starting to itch for an Amanaman. Again, want to get to it. I'm giving up the hope of the entire 96, especially because there's so many figures that are going to be really tough sells, like Maydeen and the Rancor Keeper. But I would like to get the last 17, get that completed. So put a Man on there.
So 2 points. Number one about Medine. I think they could justify Medine because they could retool him and reuse pieces of him for other New Republic and Rebel officers from Battlefront, from Ahsoka, from Mandalorian, all these different shows that they've been in. They could easily reuse some of that tooling. So I don't know what they're waiting for on Medine, honestly. There's a lot of reuse potential there.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is that doesn't mean the Maydene's going to sell very well. Just because they can, I'm talking about the Maydeen itself. I don't think.
Well, sure, but what I'm saying is, even if the initial use doesn't sell that well, they can still reuse those pieces and get their money back from the tooling.
Okay,
right? So
I'll put it one more. I don't think they can sell the minimum factory run of Maydeen.
Yeah, well,
so
you're killing me, Chris. Come on,
I'm killing me. You don't think I don't want it? You don't think I don't want it?
The other thing I wanted to bring up too, and I failed to mention this when Tim was listing his, the Marines, the Galactic Marines have the whole lower body, the whole legs. The Marines and the 41st Elite Corps clone scout troopers, they have the exact same legs. They're just painted different, not painted differently, but in the movie they're different colors. But the legs would be exactly the same pieces. So there's some reuse potential there. If they make a Marine, they can make the Scout or vice versa. So that's more incentive for Hasbro to make those. And again, they're going to sell like crazy because they're army builders.
Yeah.
But that was just 2 points I wanted to throw out there from your list. But
John, sorry, Chris, I think I might have missed number 22. What did you say about that one again?
That's T3M4. It's the astromech droid from Knights of the Old Republic,
right?
From the game, and that's one. As I'm looking at this, I kind of regret putting on here because I don't know if I want to pay $17 for a little teeny astromech anymore.
Yeah,
I do want the figure.
And this is what I was going back to earlier about it's your list and mine was my list, and you've only got 25 slots, but. Like gaming figures, this is where like everyone's personal preference comes into it. Like first and foremost, I want figures from live action, like, and then probably animation and then probably gaming. It doesn't mean to say that I don't want gaming figure because I've always enjoyed the gaming, the computer games, video games over the years. But when you've only got 25 slots, it's hard for me to justify putting in a figure from a video game. So I'm, props for you to manage to get one in there.
Well, yeah, like you said, this is my list. If I went out to 100, and I easily could go out to 100 of figures I wanted, there would probably be 1 or 2 animated figures on there, and probably 0 Disney era figures on my list. On my personal list, this is what I want for my collection. I'm only interested now. I'm running out of space of advancing, kind of like what John was saying. He has all this world building items, just advancing my stuff. That doesn't mean I don't think they should be made. Of course they should be made, and I would campaign for them to be made. But this is, for my collection, this is the stuff I want.
Yeah.
That being said, Chris, how jazzed are you personally for like Balin and Shin? I'm just curious.
That again, I did have Balin on my list and Shin on my list last year. That was definitely recency bias. Having said that, I'd be hard pressed to see something a Sith or even a discount Sith like Balin and Shin and not be excited to put them in my collection. Especially
great value Sith.
The Dollar General Sith. Especially when it looks to be like a really well executed figure. I'm always going to want to put them.
I think too, like when it comes to Ahsoka, I think they did a really good job of covering the vast majority of the stuff that we need from that show. There's still a few critical things that we need, right? We still need Marok, the witches,
Moses
Ezra, and I would really like the undead Death Troopers as well. And I think if they did those 4 things, I'd be good from the show, but they're so close to just finishing that whole show, really, just like they're so close to finishing Rogue One, and they just won't do it. It's like, finish it already, God.
Well, but the thing of it is, at this point, season 2 is going to be out, and people just lose. Some of the windows closed unless they. Sorry, I know you don't like this joke, Tyler, but unless they stuff that fart back in the suit for Marek. People could have moved.
He drifted away, just like our hopes and dreams of him, right? It's just like a fart in the wind, right?
Yeah.
No. I don't care that he was a fart. I still want him, but
no, I'm saying, again, we're somewhat atypical. Again, I would take a Maydeen. I know it won't sell. I would be thrilled to have Maydeen. I know it won't sell, but I'm just saying, like, in general, so the general public, there's 2. There's like what us wackos want and what sells to the in the thousands of pieces. I think that in the general public might move on from Marek unless he by the time they get to him at this point, it's the Queel factor. I remember John ready to march on Pawtucket because they didn't announce, every time a presentation went by and they didn't announce Queel, he was getting so mad, and he very well represented the community on that. And then it took so long. He was now a dead character. We went all the way through season 2, and everybody was amped about Dark Troopers and Luke and all this stuff. And when he came out, he just didn't do well.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's very true. What's resurrected him slightly is the blurg. I'm enjoying my Queel figure again because of the blurg.
I do have to run, guys. I'm pushing it here on my time.
All right, buddy.
Later,
big tuna.
Thanks for having me on. Later.
See you, Chris.
Man. We'll see you later. Let me stop screen sharing. Okay, we're good now, right? Yeah, just 3 of us. All right. Somebody said the little pod people. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm personally, I'm good on those. I know some people love
the Koopa Troopas. Whatever they were.
The little Mario turtle people.
If you don't want them, do you not want a Ezra then?
No, I think Ezra's essential because they made Sabine, and they made Ahsoka the White, and they made the Night Troopers. You've got a bunch of characters that go together for those fight scenes at the very end inside the fortress and up on the platform. And of course we need Morgan Elsbeth with her different face and her sword as well. Yeah, they've done most of the stuff from that show though. But yeah, we need Ezra because the fight amongst the pods with the turtle people, and he's fighting against Shin too, and I do think that's a critical character from the show. The turtle people. That's like way at the bottom of my priority list. But
Oh, I thought you would want an army of those. Like...
yeah, right, yeah.
that show, I loved Ahsoka, and I rewatched it maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. And there's elements of when they get to, is it Peridia or Peridia? How do you say?
Peridia, yeah.
Peridia. So there's elements of that I like, but I feel the show was better before they got there, if that makes sense. Once they got there, it just started getting a bit weird. But it was still good. I still enjoyed it, but I just felt that the first sort of like 2/3 of the show were the sort of the better bits, really.
Some people were unhappy. Go ahead.
I also rewatched Mando season 3 as well, and that isn't actually as bad as I remember it being when I first watched it. Because I think Mando season 1 and 2 were so good.
Yes.
It's definitely the weakest out of the 3, but it's not as bad as I remember it.
You're lowering your standards, Tim. You're lowering
might be.
I think the biggest thing about Mando season 3 was that there was no sort of big character reveal like Luke or Boba Fett. I think season 2 just set such a high bar for what that show could be that season 3 just didn't quite deliver on the same level of like, wow, freaking Luke Skywalker, like there was no moment like that,
I think if they would have focused more on getting back to Mandalore and him, what was it he had to do? He had to repent, or I forget the word he had to do.
Bathe in the waters and
yeah. And then the whole thing with the beast, the what do you call it? The mythosaur.
The mythosaur, yeah.
Yeah, the mythosaur.
Yep.
If they could have like extended that out and seen what was going to happen with that, because a lot of those scenes were great, right? When finding the group of Mandalorians on there, and I don't know, all the stuff on the planet with Jack Black and Lizzo and Christopher.
There's some weird. Yeah, there's some weird. There was some weird.
That was the worst episode of Mando.
Take that out.
Like, just there was also the cloning episode too, and I think that they had to wrap up his story. Dr. Pershing?
Oh my god, I forgot about that part. Yes,
that was kind of an odd inclusion. I think they had to include plot points that maybe were going to be in other shows like Rangers of the New Republic. So they had to stuff a lot into Mando season 3 that didn't necessarily always need to, wasn't always going to be there. So I don't know. They had to do a lot in the 3rd season.
Captain Lettuce. Yes.
Who's Captain Lettuce? What am I missing?
What's his name there? The pirate there.
Gorian Shard?
Yeah, Gorian Shard. Yeah.
He does look like a head of lettuce, doesn't he?
That's funny. It's like they took Pizza
Davy
the
Jones.
Hut. Yeah. Pizza the Hut and a piece of lettuce and combined
lettuce Davy Jones, yeah.
But there was definitely some weirdness in that. But if you took that out of it, and you're right, Tyler, they were probably trying to connect it to the sequel trilogy stuff or whatever with the clone,
Palpatine and all that. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to Andor season 2 though, Tyler?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. Krennic's gonna come back.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be good.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. But I think there's a big time jump between each like arc, or each arc's gonna be 4 years or something like that. I can't remember how they said they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think they wanted like a few seasons, right? Originally they wanted like, I forgot what it was. I don't know. Somebody let us know. 3 or 4 seasons, maybe more.
But what's his name? Couldn't commit to it. What's his name again?
Well, they were worried about Diego Luna or whoever.
Diego Luna.
All of them aging, just like they're getting older, right? I mean, from the original Rogue One to this. But I think
Diego Luna said he only wanted to commit to 2 seasons.
And there was that part of it. The whole like actors committing to things. I think there was a
Every
combination.
3 episodes is a 4-year. That's what it was. Yeah, 4-year time jump. Yeah.
But yeah, there's some good TV coming up. I think you got The Last of Us season 2 in March, and
Oh,
then
I'm looking forward to that.
Andor in April, right? Andor 2 in April.
Yeah. Oh man, those are going to be good months.
So
Man, yeah, looking forward to that. I like that in this season of Andor. The first season was kind of all about how he gets into the rebellion, but the second season is going to be like him in the rebellion as a spy, doing whatever he does as a rebel, right? So it's going to be a bit more maybe exciting and action packed because of that. He's gonna be infiltrating Imperial facilities or whatever he's doing. Uh, my Andor season 1 was great, but I think that the second season will be even better.
High bar.
Yeah. They're spending a crazy amount of money on it too. Didn't they spend like $600 million on it or something crazy?
I think it was
Really?
650
Wow.
total combined for both seasons.
Oh, is that what okay. It's still a crazy
But they were building
amount of money,
whole practical villages, weren't they? Like, did you see the making of it with the Ricks Road or whatever it's called?
Yep.
All the passages that they built in the back of it and stuff, and it's pretty crazy what they did with that. So they could get all like loads of different like camera angles of people walking out in different places and stuff like that to make it look big,
It kind of reminds me. I saw some behind the scenes footage of when they were making Lord of the Rings, and they made the White City Gondor, in Return of the King, and how much of that was a real set that they built out a whole section of the city, and it's like
but it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference because if you don't rely on the volume or whatever it's called as much, it definitely, like, look at Obi-Wan, that really suffered.
Yes,
with,
it did. It just felt cramped and small.
It did, yeah. So, the thing I like about Andor the most is it's just the whole like Imperial side of it. Just watching them like just become like tighten the grip.
The sense of dread living under that oppression.
Because you always knew how bad they were from like A New Hope, But this just like really shows you why everyone fears them so much.
Yes. It was really good. Gonna be cool to see the TIE Avenger too. That's gonna be cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying there too, Andrew Cook. I hope we find out how Saw loses that foot. And
oh my gosh,
he's gonna become more machine man. Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be wild, huh?
Yeah, and the dialogue. Yeah.
Because he was in Andor season 1, right? But he had both feet in that scene. Is that what I'm understanding?
He didn't have any of the apparatus, the breathing stuff.
Oh man,
anything. He was just in like his. He was in like his what do you call it? Clone Wars outfit. Pretty much.
Yeah. Wow. Gonna be interesting. Man,
good stuff, man.
Well, we've been rolling for 2.5 hours here, unless there was anything else, any saved points you wanted to discuss from the reveals or any, things you're excited about, mail call, anything you guys want to talk about.
No, other than the ghost, I think I've gotten this guy. That's really all I've had. Oh, and I did get one other thing, and I'm embarrassed that I never had this before. I think I had it when the Kenner ones originally, but my camera's being wonky here.
Look at that.
But I didn't have Max Rebo. I had the other ones, but not Max. So excited to finally get this to add to my Jabba's set. And my
Jodo just got one of his ghosts today, and real quick, there was a comment earlier. AI and figure photography. I can't remember who brought that up.
Oh, people are going nuts about that stuff.
Man, what a contentious issue. There are some people who are like, it's so cool to see our figures come alive like this. And then there are other people who are like, this is an abomination. I'm gonna unfollow you if you share this. Like this is it's like there are
Really?
people who have very strong feelings about it. Yes, very strong feelings about it.
I I think I commented on it. I think the one that you shared. I think,
Mhm.
and for me, it's like they don't look like toys in it. Like
Yeah.
the sort of the joint, you can see where like the splits are and stuff, but it almost molds in a bit too much, and it almost looks too real. So it sort of removes it away from it being a bit of plastic and a toy. And whereas when you've got figure photography, just a still shot, you can still see all those things in there. And
Or even stop motion, yeah.
yeah, I don't mind like too much. I don't mind like photoshopping like lights in and stuff like that. But I kind of like seeing. For me, I mean, I'm no expert on it. I'm rubbish at that sort of thing. But I think the art behind it is taking a good shot that you don't have to do so much to it to make it look. I mean, of course, with lightsabers and stuff, you need to, put the light beams and stuff in Photoshop and to bring it a bit more to life. But just like posing the figures, creating a scene, and being able to take a shot without having to then do too much to it after the fact. That's kind of where the sort of skill is. I'm guessing with that AI stuff, it kind of blurs it a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Mind you,
think AI is
no,
still a
go on.
little glitchy in some places too,
Yeah,
where it gets a little confused or doesn't quite translate well or whatever. But
I saw on. I don't know why it came up in my feed on Facebook, but somebody had done it with garbage pail kids.
Really?
So they uploaded the picture of the garbage pail kid still thing into the thing, and those moving look flipping incredible,
Oh,
like
I
really
need to
good.
see that. I need to see Junk Food John animated.
Yeah,
Man.
there's just some classics, like the ones with the boogers all coming out of their nose and like that. And they're all like moving around, and
Oh man.
it was incredible. It really was. But
I
yeah,
think I think there's a difference between feeding AI instructions and having it craft something completely, out of the blue, so to speak, versus giving it original figure photography that you shot and edited in the first place, and then giving it instructions to work on based on that, which is what we posted when we
yeah,
opened up the dialogue. We posted somebody had I think it was Nightfall Customs, his name is. He had a bunch of figure photography,
yeah,
and then he put those images into the generator and then gave it instructions, and it did things
yeah,
based on his original photography. And I think that's sort of different than just having AI
That
just
makes sense.
bleh, you know
yeah.
barf
Yeah.
something up from nowhere.
I
It's,
think I think
you
I
know
think where people are getting annoyed about it and think it's an abomination is because ultimately the AI has to go and get its references from somewhere and then it merges it together. So this is why, like a lot of not just in figure photography and stuff, just artists in general, you put in an AI, no source material, just say, create me an image of X, Y, and Z mixed with X, Y, and Z, and then it has to go off and get references from that from somewhere and
Yeah.
put them all together. And that's where the
Right.
artists are like, hang on a minute, that's using a bit of my
Like Mid Journey.
original,
Yeah,
but because
yeah,
it's created something new, where does that sort of licensing is like completely blurred lines with it, isn't there? So, I can understand why people are, a bit worried about it. But the ones that I saw, did Steve Evans share one as well of like the clone trooper walking through?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, he and then he showed the original image of it as well that created it. I mean, they look amazing, but as I said, the image, the AI, because it's walking and stuff, you kind of can't, it's like what's toy and what's not. Is it's all getting a little bit too real?
hmm The one with the Inquisitor, the same artist had the fourth sister Inquisitor walking
Yeah,
forwards too, and she looked so realistic. It was
I
crazy.
know, yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
wild. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I think it's entertaining and kind of cool to see your figures come alive like that.
yeah,
Um, But at the same time, I do understand where people are like, that's not art, that's just being lazy, or if you want to make your figures move, then do it the long way and do stop motion, right? Like, I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah, I
And
saw a
AI in
couple.
general is kind of terrifying. But
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll say I think I saw a couple in the Facebook group that was like the Armorer's Forge or some scene from that and them coming to life. And I saw another one with like episode 1. I think it was Queen Amidala in like her black dress outfit there. With like Jar Jar in the background, but I don't think Jar Jar was moving, and she started moving, and it was kind of funky because it kind of takes away like the figure articulation. Do you
That's
know
what I
mean?
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You
I'm with
can't see
I'm with
you
you,
can't
Tim.
see the points sometimes with it.
Yeah, kind of like
You know what?
blurs it all
it
together.
kind
You're
of
like,
kind of becomes a little noodly or whatever.
what am I watching right now? Yeah. But the Armorer's Forge one looked pretty cool from what I saw. But
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know.
And it's going to get better too. I mean, when you look at the difference between Tarkin and Princess Leia in Rogue One, right? I just saw that somebody was commenting how ancient the technology is from back then compared to what they do now, like with Luke in the Book of Boba Fett, right? And Mandalorian. I think they did it even better in Book of Boba Fett, but
Was it is a different
It
technology,
did.
wasn't it?
yeah,
They
yeah.
they brought
So
that
they
they brought
used
that person in. Yeah.
so they used their own way of doing it in Mando, but then for Book of Boba Fett, they got the guy that did the deep fake version.
Yeah, because he did a
Yeah.
really good job.
He improved it, so he used deep fake.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually employed him, didn't they?
Good for him. Yeah,
Join them.
yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to open up the floor to talk about that. It's like I said, it's very surprisingly contentious issue. I think that we're gonna not post that stuff very often because people get real heated about it. I'm serious. People were like, "I'm gonna unfollow you if you keep sharing this crap." Like they were really mad about it.
Wow.
It's like with Hollywood, right? Hollywood's super against it in movies and so.
Yeah, that's
like
what that strike was over,
actors,
right?
replacing actors or whatnot or whatever it is. Yeah. So
I'm worried about how
I
many
get it.
jobs are going to become automated and AI'd out over the coming. It's going to be scary, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook just had the whole Mark Zuckerberg just unveiled his huge investment, $65 billion. It's going to like factory size of freaking Manhattan. It's like
Holy crap!
crazy, or not the
Yeah,
size of
he
it, but
said he was going to axe
freaking.
like 200 people or something like that, right? From Facebook.
Look, I use Chat GPT at work to be more effective at my job. When I hear people losing their job with that type of stuff, it's kind of sad. But
And analyst jobs, yeah,
we're
because they
trying
could
to
just
use it.
so much
Yeah,
faster than us.
we're just trying to use it to be more effective at our job. So, see what happens.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Good one. Good one. All right, guys. Well, I'll let you go. But just real quick, I want to remind everyone that you've got until January 31st at 11:59 p.m. EST, I believe. I think they want to do it at EST, not Pacific time, so that it's not 3 in the morning EST, But they don't like having to stay up till midnight for that. But don't forget to submit your list. Submit your list. You must submit your list at the link, commenting it on social media platforms or on Bantha Skull or wherever is great. And we want to encourage those conversations, but they're only going to count if you submit them at the link. So please be sure. And if it earlier somebody was talking about, I think Tim, you were talking about editing your list. When you submit your list, there's a thing at the top there that asks for your email address. If you put your email address in, it should shoot you an automated email saying, "Hey, thank you for your submission. If you want to go back and edit your list, use this link. So go back and look for that email and hit edit my list here, or whatever it is, right? And it'll go back and it'll change your original list instead of creating a second duplicate list, if you provided your email. If not, I think what John does is count your most recent lists that you submitted with that email, because he assumes that you wanted to change it to the second or third list or whatever. So get those lists in, and please continue to share it. We are approaching our number of lists. Last year we got about 1,200 lists. We're coming up to that. I would really love to surpass it for the 5th year in a row, or I guess 4th year in a row, getting even more than the year previous. Let's keep shattering that ceiling and keep getting more participation. We appreciate it. How do you find the link? The link's all over the place. The link is
your link tree right there in the corner.
Yep. That link right there. Here, let me share my screen real quick. Share screen. Entire screen. We'll do that. So right here. See that?
There you go.
That right there. Copy that link right there and go there. All right. Thank you for the super chats, guys. We always really appreciate that. I know Riley Bob sent one earlier. Thank you. Darth Wizzy Wizard, we appreciate you guys. And I'm going to imitate Evan now and sign off. John and Tim, thank you very much for joining and sharing your lists.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's been good.
And discussing the reveals. It's been a fun chat. So I'm gonna do my best, Evan, here. Keep 375 alive. Back TVC, fight for TVC, finish the 96, submit your lists, and may the force be with you all. Have a good night, everyone.
Cheers, mate. Bye.